Woke up to the market doing jumping jacks. Up 10%, then collapsing like it slipped a disc fast. Portfolio's looking like a half-built bridge. Gets halfway there, then quits at the ridge. Chart keeps twitching like it's speaking in code. Logic running laps in panic mode. I place a trade, boom, the script gets flipped. Everything moves like it's emotionally ripped. And I keep getting caught in the market's split brain. One side sunshine, one side hurricane. I got a whiplash index twisting my spine. Don't know if I'm winning or losing my mind. Yeah, the whiplash index taking my breath. Green in the morning, by lunch it's dead. Feels like the whole damn market's got a ghost in its head. Every time I blink, some headline detonates. Federal suits talk and the chart rotates. And Trump tweets something wild at 3 a.m. and futures start spinning like they owe him. I'm sitting there watching my balance evaporate. Feels like I'm roasting cash for the fun of it late. Signals crossing like two drunk swords. Trading in a maze with half the floors. I'm trying to keep calm in this carnival ride, but the market keeps asking me to pick a I got a whiplash index twisting my spine. Don't know if I'm winning or losing my mind. Yeah, the whiplash index taking my breath. Green in the morning, by lunch it's dead. Feels like the whole damn market's got a ghost in its head. I got a whiplash index twisting my spine. Don't know if I'm winning or losing my mind. Yeah, the whiplash index taking my breath. Green in the morning, by lunch it's dead. Feels like the whole damn market's got a ghost in its head.
Oh, brother, oh, brother, oh, brother. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy hump day to everyone who celebrates it. It's a beautiful Wednesday, February the 4th, I want to say. And the light's a little soft over here. Let's turn this up a bit. Let's add a little bit of brightness into this. Let's fix the hair and let's get ready for another episode of the Matt Kohrs Show, where I have a sneaky suspicion that today is going to be a little bit crazy. I'm going to be getting into the specific mathematical option, big money positioning details of why I believe what I'm about to say. But here's what you need to know. Monday and Tuesday, the two trading days of this week and of this month, have already been majorly dominated by zero DTE flow. If you look at the gamma influence, it was almost all really because of zero DTE positioning, large money zero DTE positioning. Today, it's more than it's been all week. It's been more than it's been all month. in terms of a relative measure of who's running the show, is it all expiration or is it today? Today, as in Wednesday, it is clearly the highest relative impact from zero DTE playing. Now, to make it a little bit more crazy here, we're not seeing clear positioning. It's not like there's a nice pocket of negative gamma, a nice pocket of bullish gamma in terms of, okay, here's where we're looking for bases, here's where we're looking for trendy. It's as, I don't know, messed up and flipping back and forth as you could possibly imagine. So what does that mean for today? Well, like yesterday, even though yesterday theoretically, or technically I should say, it was a strong trend to the downside. So if you're a trend following trader, it still worked out for you. It just happened to be a bearish trend. This one might be a little bit more crazy because I'm expecting larger ranges. I'm expecting a bit of whipsaw. You don't know because it's zero DTE and you never know when zero DTE players are going to switch up their position. But as of right now, there's very low stability, and the way the market is setting up, it seems like we could just be kind of changing price right on a dime today. So today, especially relative to what we've seen over the past maybe week and a half, you gotta be ready. You should always be ready. You should always be prepared. You should always be respecting your risk. But as I'm going to show you, especially right before the market opens today, that there could be a lot of craziness. And that's obviously the market's dynamic. That's based on the current setup. For all I know, maybe 9:30 opens, a bunch of traders decide to place positions and add stability. Just because we're seeing data now doesn't mean it can't change. But literally just commenting as 9:07 this morning, today is, as of this moment, shaping up to be a little bit of a wild day. So I, of course, want to be breaking that down. We're going to do our normal thing, breaking down all the major news globally, all the major news here in the U.S., a little bit of market news, and then obviously a little bit of individual equity news. From there, we're going to be getting into the specific game plan for today's trading session. Of course, at some point, I'm going to ask you guys to trade my account for me. You guys have been on a heater, so let's see if you can make in a little bit more money. And then from there, let's see if we could do some futures trading, some option trading, and let's see if we can get on the right side of some clear moves today. I do appreciate you joining me this early. So good morning. Before we get going, I do want to let you know today is the final trading session for Apex if you want 90% off. 90% off is the best deal they run. You could take the evals on the 50K account, which is the most popular, but obviously feel free to use whichever one's best for you and your trading. Anyway, 90% off with code Goonie. This is the final trading session. Based on what I'm seeing in the setup, and I could just kind of show you the squirreliness of it. Look at this. Positive, negative, positive, negative. I think there's going to be a decent amount of movement. So let's just use that 50K account theoretically. You can max it out with 10 contracts. If you max it out with 10 contracts on the NQ, you only need a 16-point movement, a 15-point movement for you to pass the test. So if you kind of want to do that degen technique of long on half your account, short on the other half, so half of them pass, this is a very financially efficient way to do it because it is currently 90% off. Now, I just want to be clear. If you choose to do that to pass your evals, you're not allowed to do that with the performance accounts. I get this question of Matt, that's against the rules. It's not against the rules for evals to pass them. It is against the rules for your performance accounts. If they catch you trading in different directions on different accounts and kind of the whole windfall thing, you cannot do it to get payouts, but you can do it to pass the evals. So I'm assuming that today's actually going to be a pretty good day for it. And luckily enough, it is aligning with a nice 90% off. So that is pinned to the top of chat. It's in the description of the video. I'll let you know, but I just don't want anyone to miss out. Why not? It's 90% off today. It's going to be more expensive tomorrow. So I just thought I should call that out. So here's a quick look at how things are this morning. The SPY is right at the closing value from yesterday. The Qs are below the closing value from yesterday. AMD had earnings and it got completely messed up. Supermicro had earnings. It's doing pretty well. Uber had earnings. It did get beat up and now it's obviously already bouncing back. Eli Lilly had earnings. That's actually doing pretty well. And then looking at some of these precious metals, silver and gold are both up. I've been calling it out that ever since the drop off in silver and gold, I thought we were going to get the bounce to the upside. And thus far, that prediction, that analysis of basically just this technical dip buy at the 50 EMA is coming into fruition. And what I care about is the height of the bounce. That to me is going to be very telling of what the next move is. But generically, like just my base case right now is I'm looking for a volatile bounce to the upside on both gold and silver in the short term, followed by another additional volatile sell-off. Now, I have no idea of the height of, or I guess the depth of the fall off, the height of the bounce, but I am looking for volatility and I'm looking for a bit of mean reversion up and then a little bit more of mean reversion down. Once again, that is not commentary whatsoever on the long-term investment thesis of gold or silver. This is exclusively on my short-term prediction of what's going on, especially living through some of the craziness of just massive rips to the upside followed by massive sell-offs historically in the world of equities and crypto. I don't think that in terms of active trading, and once again, I want to emphasize that rather than investing, in terms of active trading, in terms of gold and silver specifically, I don't think it's going to behave that much different from all these other crazy things, because at a certain point, it's a lot more of psychology driving it than actual fundamentals, especially in the short term. S&P 500 futures move higher after tech sell-off drags down major averages. So AMD not helping us out right now, as I kind of already showed you right here. That was one of the AI software-esque plays people are paying attention to, currently down 9.6%. So definitely getting clocked, but let's see if it ends up having some dip buyers or if there's a bit of panic. Obviously, we have some time to go. Before we get into that, just some of the larger news that I think we should quickly rip through. How Miller stokes Trump's boundary pushing impulses. The White House aide has been an architect of aggressive immigration sweeps in the U.S. cities and deadly boat strikes in the Caribbean. So Miller, he's under some fire here, just in terms of, I guess, the Wall Street Journal. Some people really like him, some people really hate him, but it just kind of gives you an idea of the current tensions, at least within the administration. Mirren, once again, different guy here, now talking to the Fed. Mirren resigns from White House post. So this is the guy who was in the administration, and then he was a Fed governor, and he kind of had both. Well, now he's stepping down from the administration job, and he's going to keep moving forward with the just Fed governor job. So he is a voting member of the FOMC. Federal Reserve Mirren is leaving his post as chair of the Council of Economic Advisors. He joined the CEA in January of 2025, pretty much a year ago, but had been on leave from the post since September when he filled the unexpired term from Kugler. So she just kind of disappeared, which I think there's more of a story of that. Like, once again, unexpired. I kind of tripped up on that because I wanted to emphasize the fact that her term wasn't over. And then she abstained from one vote. A day or two later, she's like, I'm actually leaving. So I think there's a little bit more to that particular story, but hey, we'll find out. Mirren's term at the Fed expired on January 31st. During his time at the central bank, he championed aggressive interest rate cuts. So just a little bit more the craziness in terms of the Fed. Just wanted to cover it. It's not the biggest news, but it's just some of the important stuff I saw coming across the tape today. But if you're actively trading, day trading, scalp trading, or swing trading, you probably all care a little bit more about this. So today is Wednesday, February the 4th. Happy hump day to all of you. Earlier today, we did get the non-farm employment change. They were expecting 46,000, came in at 22. In terms of its impact to the market, you could see right about here, there was actually a little bit of a pop. These two little green bars in the S&P 500 not held, and really not the biggest impact. Maybe a little bit later. Actually, we're not getting the JOLTS job openings because we're already past that. That's because of the temporary government shutdown. The BLS is not working, so that's not happening. But I do want to let you know, with respect to the shutdown, it did pass the Senate and the House, and then Trump was talking about it last night, so we're A-okay. And if you look at the betting markets, they were pretty accurate. They knew it was going to be 4 days, so a very, very short-lived government shutdown. A little bit later on today, we're getting some non-manufacturing prices and PMI, so that will be coming out at 9:45 and 10 a.m., so pay attention to that. Tomorrow, Thursday, ECB interest rate decision, the equivalent of our Fed, but just for the European Central Bank. And then Friday, right now, the unemployment numbers, once again, because the government shutdown and the BLS not working, not going to get them. With jobs data delayed, analysts flock to unofficial data. Countless private firms offer a read on the job market, consumers, and the economy, but they can't replace official government statistics. I understand the sentiment of that. I do. I get it. But what I have a hard time really understanding here is how many times have they just been so laughably wrong, so comically wrong that when we get these revisions, they're almost speaking an entirely different language. So like I get this, but I mean, how much are we really trusting these government agencies in terms of giving us accurate information? The revisions are insane. The data collection process is insane. So I get it. I guess like some data is better than absolutely none. But is that actually even true when the data that we get is just completely seemingly random anyway? So I'm kind of torn on it. Like, yes, I guess I care about the data, but then something is wrong in this day and age when like we're literally just numbers. Like it's literally you're adding certain numbers and you're subtracting other numbers. And then yet the US government is getting that all completely wrong, like to a very, very bad degree. So if you ask me, I would actually care more about these private businesses that have a incentive to actually give out accurate data, because it would be embarrassing for the business if they're comically wrong and then they have to get revised and then no one does it anymore. This idea of the incentive of like capitalism from private companies to actually give us information, I like that more than the government, who are they incompetent? Maybe. Are they intentionally lying? Maybe. Is it a combination of the both? Maybe. So you don't know. And the fact that we don't know, it really brings it into question of how much can we trust it. And then even if you're like, no, Matt, the government would never lie to us. They're always going to do their best job and give us the information. If you are bored today, if you have like a 5 minutes where you're like, dude, I am as bored as you could possibly be, I implore you to look into how the BLS gets the data for the jobs report and that stuff. It's going to blow your mind how archaic it is. It's something along the lines of they just call up random numbers in random areas and they just ask, hey, are you working? It's not some official payroll data or anything like that. They're not running it through like payroll, taxes, like something that's measurable. It's as archaic as a phone call, ringity ding ding ding. Hey man, you working? Oh, you're not working? Are you looking for a job? Oh, you're not looking for a job? How long have you not been looking for a job? Oh, you are looking for a job. How long have you been looking for a job? It's as stupid of a process as that. And that's just one of the things. We could spend hours complaining about this data collection process. Similar thing with those Michigan numbers, the Michigan inflation report numbers. It's stupid. It's archaic. Like it is really the dumbest thing ever. And why do we need government statisticians? Well, I think we need government statisticians because, yes, I want smart people. I want people with STEM backgrounds to be somewhat involved because our other options are even worse. The issue is the approved data collection process would knock your socks off with how just stupid it is. Like, it's actually insane. And hey, if you don't believe me, go search it for yourself. You don't have to trust this talking head on the internet, but it absolutely blows my mind. So that's some of the shenanigans we're dealing with this week. Other shenanigans are individual companies. Yesterday, we heard from AMD, Supermicro, and Chipotle. One of them doing well, the other two not doing well. This morning, Uber, not doing well, but it is bouncing back. Eli Lilly doing well. Novo Nordisk taking a huge hit, which is actually big, like a big deal for a top 10 company. But really the fireworks get going today after the market closes. We hear from Google, aka Alphabet, ARM, Qualcomm, and Snapchat. So if you happen to be trading into those, buckle up for after market close today. And then tomorrow, Amazon, Strategy, Roblox, Reddit, Affirm. So you might be paying attention to some of those as well. But circling back, AMD shares drop as forecast comes up short of some expectations. What is this? Trump admin to withdraw 700 federal officers from Minnesota. Well, I guess people in Minnesota are probably happy about that. Supermicro reports bullish Q4. So AMD not doing well. SMCI doing well. Chipotle, I guess no one's buying burritos. Chipotle stock sinks on restaurant chain reports falling traffic and weak guidance. I like Chipotle. I like burrito bowls, so I was a little bit surprised to read this, but I guess people are moving on elsewhere, and it's to some companies weight loss drugs, but not all of them. Novo Nordisk shares tumble 18% as CEO warns it will get worse before it gets better. Yeah, that's never the headline you want to put out about your company of like, hey, I know we sucked in the last earnings, but get this, it's actually going to get worse before it gets better. So that's probably one way to not handle it. And the other way to do it is sell a miracle magical drug that helps everyone lose weight. Eli Lilly blows past quarterly estimates, posts strong outlook as Zepbound and I don't even know this one, sales or what's this drug for? I thought Zepbound was for weight loss. Monero, whatever it is. I feel like I see these commercials all the time and my brain just completely blocks them out. It's annoying. But yeah, GLP-1. So it's just going to be the weight loss stuff. Like I said, a Monero. Both are weight loss. It's the same one. All right. Well, apparently that's all you have to do. What was it? The last couple quarters, all you had to do was list AI in your earnings and like, oh my God, they're employing AI and the stock just rips. Well, now all you have to do is help people lose weight and the stock will continue to rip and rip and rip. So apparently that is the secret sauce. Uber reports 20% revenue growth in fourth quarter fueled by food delivery. The initial reaction was bad, then it bounced back, and now it's netting out to nothing. But with respect to today, I want to emphasize the importance of Google's report. It's right now, I'm not hearing many people talk about the fact that Google is the second biggest company in the world. It's kind of sneaky. It's just kind of slowly but surely getting up there. And if Nvidia takes a little bit of a hit and Google gets a little bit of a pop, we are going to have a new reigning heavyweight champion, folks. We are that far off. 4.4 trillion versus 4.1 trillion. Nvidia is trending down. Google is trending up. Before you know it, like literally today, because of this earnings, if Google does well, especially relative to whatever Nvidia's stock reaction is today, we might have a new heavyweight champ. I know some of you in chat have been long and strong on Google, riding it higher and higher and higher. Obviously, congrats to you. And this might be the day that it really gets going. I'm starting a company that uses AI for weight loss, dude. It's that meme of like, take my money. That's pretty much it feels like where we're at. And especially if you add in a little bit of blockchain, if you are using AI to optimize blockchain for weight loss, dude, you have probably a $5 trillion company on your hand. If you put those three things together, AI optimization of blockchain for weight loss, brother. The only question is, how many islands are you going to buy? That's honestly the only leftover question at this point. But anyway, back to this. Google is reporting it might become the new heavyweight champ. And right now the top 10 are Nvidia, Google, Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Meta, TSMC, Tesla, Broadcom, and Berkshire Hathaway. Skipping over Saudi Aramco just because it is not a U.S. company. And technically TSMC isn't it, but it does have ADRs, American Depository Receipts, that do trade on our market. And just for those of you who are curious, to wrap out a little bit more, Berkshire Hathaway, Walmart, Eli Lilly. Eli Lilly might be skipping a couple of places here today because they did have good earnings. JP Morgan, and then we get into a little bit of Korea, a little bit of China, and then all the way down to Visa. So this is currently who is dominating the game, and I'm just kind of interested in the recent switch up. It's generally these four, Nvidia, Alphabet, Apple, and Microsoft, that are really like, okay, who's running the show? Microsoft's been doing nothing but vomiting. For a bit there, it was number one, then it fell to 2, then 3, then 4, and it has a little distance to go, but at this rate, if Amazon keeps picking up and Microsoft keeps getting hit, it could actually go to 5. Apple really hasn't been doing much. It's just been kind of going sideways. Nvidia also kind of going sideways, but Google is up and away. I guess circling back to the weakest one in this particular cohort, Microsoft's pivotal AI product is running into big problems after leaning on its partnership with OpenAI. Microsoft is playing catch up in the chatbot race, but data shows that it's losing ground with users. Yeah, this whole AI wave, for a little bit there, everyone was riding it, seemingly but Microsoft and Meta. I guess you could argue Microsoft was for a bit because of their clear connection to OpenAI, but just in recent history, Microsoft's just getting its teeth kicked in. Folks, look at this. We peaked at the all-time high after July earnings report of last year. Then we based, looked like we were going. We kind of just double topped in October. And ever since then, we've dropped from 551 to 410. Folks, we're talking about a top 10 company in the world shedding 25% of its market cap. Pretty big deal. So as much as at one point the market was treating it as like, yes, it is on the AI wave, now the market is saying, nope, it completely missed it. And not the exact same case, but similar. For the longest time, Meta was just pissing away money in the reality labs. Then they said, okay, we're going to cut back. And the market's like, cool, you're cutting back. And the market really liked that it was cutting back. And then all of a sudden, it became apparent that Meta still spending money on reality labs and not really getting into the AI race. And we started to get hit again, basically topping out at 790, coming all the way down to 580. And then recently bouncing off of that 580 level up to 750. And the question of why that is happening is in the recent earnings where once again Zuckerberg is saying we're cutting back even more on reality labs that push into the metaverse, and we're getting more into AI, and the market's like, cool, that's exactly what we want you to be doing. So we're seeing this clear difference in the market pricing in the companies that they believe did successfully ride with the AI wave, and then the other ones that are missing it. And obviously this is dynamic, it does change back and forth, but it is just, I guess, at least on a personal note, kind of interesting to see how this plays out. So that's kind of the overview. If you want a better overview where I put a little bit more thought into it in a weekly view, obviously mattkohrs.locals.com. This newsletter is free. You do not have to pay for it. Comes to your email inbox every single Sunday. I break down what's going on in the market, cheat sheet for all the earnings, cheat sheet for all the major macroeconomic events, and then I give you the seasonality for each day. Monday seasonality was strongly bullish. Tuesday was leaning bullish. Today actually is bearish. Over the past 27 years worth of information, the bulls have only won this day 43% of the time, as in the bears have won it 57% of the time. So the bears have a 7% edge. And here's a look at the hypothetical equity curve you would have if you bought it open, sold at close on the S&P 500 futures market. It was flat for about 20 years, 2 decades. And then over the past 7 years, it's just been slightly trending down. Now, is that the end all be all? No, I don't think that's the end all be all. In fact, what I think is going to be a little bit more impactful is the zero DTE flow, because as I'm about to show you, it is very much just the zero DTE players that are running the show. So on the screen right now, the pink line is the zero DTE gamma right here. Then this kind of light purple line is the all expiration. As you can see, without the zero DTE, the all expiration would actually be in a negative gamma territory today, as in not bullish or bearish, but bigger price movement, as in a lot of slippery price action. And whichever way you get momentum, you tend to keep going that way. But then when you include the zero DTE, you have a little bit of, I guess, positive, a little bit of stability, but overall, the system is not stable today. We have 14% stability. Oh no. Hang on. Folks, I'm going to circle back to this. Market. I always forget about this. Market at open. You guys got to answer as fast as you possibly can on this one. You guys are right now 2 for 2. The question is, can you go 3 for 3 on Rumble? I need you to chat. On Rumble, are you bullish? Are you bearish? You got to comment as quickly as you can. If you're on YouTube, you have to vote. I am ready to go. I switched it up that I think it's going to look a little bit better, where you can see the orders, you can see what's going on, you can see what's not going on. What time is it? Okay, you have a minute. You have 1 minute. I'm reading it over here on Rumble. William, you are bearish. Standing red, bearish. Big Z, bullish. Down, bear. Okay, so Rumble, you're kind of split. You are almost perfectly split. Bullish, bear, bull, bullish. Forget those past trends. Bull. All right. Oh, even YouTube. Yesterday, you were 69% confident, and now you're coming in. Now you're coming in a little bit less confident today. A little bit less confident. Folks, I need to put this out there. Less confidence. Here we are. The world's largest casino is about to open again. So as we always do, I'm giving you guys, the chat, the opportunity to trade my account. And historically, you've been more confident. And you guys did crush it. But here we are on day 3. And yes, you're still voting bullish, but a lot less confidence. Let me zoom in here so you guys can see exactly what's going on. The market is set to open at 21. Okay. All right. Here we go. Why can't I buy it? What's going on here? No. All right, buy. Market. We're doing it. Market. Confirm and send. Create order. We are good. We got to fill at 2260. So we need 23, 24. Sell 24, 24, 24, 24, 24.1. All right. Buy to open. We got 10 of them at 22.6. We're looking to sell 10. Did you guys just blow me out? I'm not going to be mad, but I'm going to be disappointed. I'm not going to be mad at you, but I'm going to be disappointed. So what do you guys think it means when the list of available accounts changes? That this is the there it goes. You guys, it didn't even All right, maybe we need to take a break from each other. You know? Maybe we just need to take a break from each other on this one. Don't be mad. Folks, you helped me out for 2 days in a row. And now our partnership has officially come to an end. Now our partnership has officially come to an end. Dad is disappointed. People are saying it's the data's down. My data is working over here. Oops, sorry, you guys can't see that. Just to show you, I haven't traded on any of my accounts. I did the little scalp trade on FFN just because I already hit the profit target. But I haven't traded on any of my other accounts. So we're looking good. So good thing I didn't trust you guys this morning on my futures accounts, because that would be an issue. That would be a massive issue this morning. But I did trust you with my options accounts, and you blew it out. Wasted. No data. Trade of 8 login. Trade of 8 is down. But then how am I getting this data? Am I only getting the data because of the FFN accounts? So if I were to log out of FFN, are you telling me it's down? All right. Well, I'm going to log out of everything, and we're going to see what data I do or don't have, because in chat, you guys are reporting that trade of 8. Oh, yeah, it is not working. So the only thing it was working for was on Rhythmic, which was my FFN. That's where I was getting some of this data, and it must have been the only place I was getting data. Someone is saying Rhythmic is down. Rhythmic was working for me, but now maybe it's not, because that's even paused. Rhythmic is working. So Rhythmic, I can confirm right here. Rhythmic is working. The Rhythmic one, it did connect. Rhythmic, the data is coming across. But I also do agree that's my Rhythmic accounts, and then my Trade of 8 accounts are not. They're not. Yeah. So at least what I'm seeing, and maybe it's different for you, maybe it's not. But Rhythmic is working for me. If you have Rhythmic based data accounts, that's fine. I'm getting the data feed. It's working. Unfortunately, that's only 2 of my accounts, while all of the other ones are Trade of 8, and Trade of 8 is currently not working. So once again, people are trying to say like, oh, it's Apex, FFN. That's not how it works, because a lot of them, you have 2 data providers kind of in this entire industry. You're kind of either working with Rhythmic or you're working with Trade of 8. So if you have any Rhythmic-based accounts as of right now, they do appear to be working. But for me, I can report that I'm having a tough time getting into any. Yeah, right there. None of those logins. So it looks like they're having some sort of issues. Are you sure your PC is plugged in? Hey, that's a very valid question. That's a very valid question. So I am seeing that issue. And just so you know, like on Apex, you can use either of these right here. Apex has wealth charts. I don't know who their data is, but then they have rhythmic plans and they have Trade-of-8 plans. So you get to pick your data provider. So it's not really the SIMDA-funded firm. It's the data provider that the SIMDA-funded firm is using. So as of this moment, as of 9:35 a.m. this morning, I can't even log into NinjaTrader once again because it's your Trade-of-8 credentials. Once again, this is a data issue from the data providers, aka Trade-of-8, aka Rhythmic. Rhythmic at this moment does appear to be working. Trade-of-8 does not. Hopefully, it gets fixed somewhat soon. Hey, I think we forgot. Dingity ding ding ding! The world's largest casino is now open. Best of luck to all. Play responsibly, and if not, have fun. I can't believe you guys blew out my accounts on me. It felt intentional. That's all I want to say about that. Is it felt oddly intentional. And I don't know if you guys meant to financially ruin me. I don't know if it was like just a joke to you. I guess it's just hurtful is all I really want to say. It's just payouts, billing. Do I really? Yep, it did fail. And I have the email. All right, let's buy another one. I know it was an accident. None of us can be perfect. None of us can be perfect. And look at that. It would have worked. Maybe I just needed a little bit of a delay. You know? I'm sorry for lashing out. I was frustrated. I should have behaved a little bit better. You know, I didn't. I know we all said things that we wish we could take back. And hey, folks, I'm just a human. I'm a human like you. So we're back. I just bought another account, so now we have to restart because of your misstep. But how are you guys feeling now? I'm going to give you one opportunity to redeem yourself. At 9:40 this morning, 10 minutes into it, I will place a trade. I'm going to place a trade exactly at 9:40. So the question is, we are currently trading here at 9:37. What do you think is going to be happening at 9:40? Well, I'm going to give you guys one opportunity here. One opportunity here to figure this out. Pull a tarot card. Where are they? Hang on. I'm going to find these tarot cards. I've never heard a better suggestion in my life. I've never heard a better suggestion in my life. Here we go, folks. If you don't know what's going on, let me explain. There are many people who approach the market with technical analysis, fundamental analysis, maybe something such as looking at order flow. Yes, maybe they work, maybe they don't. You know what works 100% of the time, though? You got to get yourself some cat-themed tarot cards. With 100% accuracy, these bad babies know exactly where the market's going to go. So that's what we're going to be doing today. I love this suggestion. I love this suggestion. All right. I just want to show you guys that I'm not cheating on this one. This is how they do it. This is how, if you guys want real insights to Wall Street, this is what they do every single day. It's just tarot cards. All right. We're doing a little bit of shuffling. I'm not looking. All right. Ready? 3, 2, 1. We'll put this on the bottom. Abracadabra, alakazam. All right, folks, we've never pulled this one before. The Page of Cups. We have a cat looking at a very large koi fish in a bowl. I think the proportions are off here. That's either a massive, massive cat. I think it's just a massive cat. But anyway, we're looking at the Page of Cups. Page of Cups. Is it bullish? Is it bearish? Let's find out. The Page of Cups, Page of Cups, Page of Cups, of Cups, of Cups, of Cups. Where's the Page of Cups? Page of Cups. The Page of Cups indicates the significance of a young, emotional, naive, and idealistic person in your life, or may imply that your own free spirit needs nurturing. Perhaps you have regained the ability to trust after being hurt or are enjoying the thrill of romance. Dreams may deliver useful insights. Dude, these things are spot on. Let me reiterate that. Perhaps you have regained the ability to trust after being hurt. Folks, tell me how that is not deadly accurate for the current situation. You guys not only broke my heart, but broke my wallet this morning. And here we are. I'm already getting signs from the great cat tarot that it's telling me straight up, I need to trust you guys again. It is telling me 100% straight up that I need to trust you guys again. The old Page of Cups. The question here, though, is, am I the cat or am I the koi fish? Like, which one's which? But anyway, whoa, no! I accidentally just dropped all the tarot cards. So with that in mind, folks, where are we at? I'm told to be trusting you guys again, so that's what we got to do. I got to trust you guys again. So with this level of trust, where are we at? You got to tell me, am I going bullish or am I going bearish? Mag 7's popping a little. S&P 500 is kind of choppy. You have, that's bearish. That's kind of 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 bearish. Where are you guys at? I was told to trust you guys again. I have a brand new account. What's it gonna be? Should I be dropping all the card deck on the floor, market tank? Yeah, it's probably not the best sign. I'm gonna be completely honest. Should I be buying right now or should I be fading it? I see silver getting crushed. AMD's not doing anything. Palantir's getting murdered. Folks, you got to tell me. Perfect. Bullish again. Bearish. You guys are not making me, you guys aren't confident. I need someone needs to step up right now with confidence. What's it going to be? Who's going to be the person to step up and say, hey, Matt, I get we're perfectly in equilibrium right now and we're not trending one way or the other. Someone needs to step up, man up, woman up, and say, Matt, this is what you need to do. What's it going to be? Double Crypto James is screaming Valhalla. I like that. Okay. Double Crypto James. What's your pick? I like it. I like the confidence. This is all riding on Double Crypto James. He's screaming Valhalla. Mother fudging. Nope, that's not him. But we do have Dixie Norma saying mother fudging bearish now. We dropped the cards, bruh. No way. Dude, Double Crypto James is betting on down. All right. He's voting on down. Market's going up, but he seems to have confidence in this play. So here we go. We're going to get some puts. We're going to get 10 puts. We're going to market it. We're doing it. We're doing it. Order is in. We got to fill at 1650. So we are trying to get out at 17. 17. Okay, let's see it. Double Crypto James and Dixie Normus both telling me down. So let's see. I got to fill at 1650. I'm currently down $300. Oh, almost break even. We're green. Let's see. Let's see if this works. You can see right here, I got to fill at 1650. Oh, wait. Oops. I put in the order way too soon, but it worked. Should we run it back? I was going for 1500. I meant to go at 18. Should we run it? Do we stop it here for the day? You were right. First of all, hats off to Dixie Normus and what is it? Double Crypto James. You fought the trend and you won. That's a rare occurrence, but you guys did it. You guys picked the top and said, hey, it's turning. So here, community vote. Do we stop here? I had a fat finger mistake. I got out at 17. I meant to do 18. That's on me. Do you want to stop with a profit today or do we want to run it again? Do you want to? Yeah, I did mess up. I meant 18. Folks, this is up to you. I'll happily stop it here today and we can run it again tomorrow. Or do you want to try to get that extra $900 today? It's all up to you. Can't stop, won't stop. Is this a degen channel or not? All right. Fair. You guys bring up very valid points. So who wants to step up for the second trade of the day? Who is feeling like they are really honed into the market right now? I need the new pick. Bullish, bearish? Do you want me to try to catch this right now? Do you want me to fade this right now? A lot of people saying we got to run this. Double or nothing. The weak are never spoken of, dude. I'm loving the confidence in Double Crypto James this morning. All right. Up, bull. Bet it all on long. Dude, P. Gaming is pretty confident about this. Short the top, sideways. Well, we're not betting on sideways. That's never a fun bet. More bears are stepping in. All right, you guys are telling me to go bearish. Not necessarily my cup of tea, but we're going to see how it goes. Can I not switch this to market? We're in again. Close with... What the fuck? Well, I somehow made money, but that was a mess up. All right, hang on. We're having some technical difficulties over here today. We're definitely having some technical... All right, let's get into this position. Create order. We are in. Close with a single order. Fill at 1840, so let's get out at 1940. All right, we're running it back. Uh-oh. SpaghettiOs. What? My heart can't handle this. Let's get to the 15-second over here. All right, so puts were purchased on your financial advice. The fill is at 1840. It is not looking good. What? Is it going to blow out? Is it going to blow out for the second time today? Dude, we need a miracle turnaround. It has to stop like right now, folks. Good thing we had some profit locked in because we are getting awfully close. If we don't exceed this, we should be fine. It's not feeling good. Seth, I said to short the top, not chase. I just thought you guys said chase. I thought you said it'd be fun. All right, so we're not seeing horrible numbers. Oh, dude, every time it might work, nah, it's gone. Yeah, that hit. Yeah, they're blown out. It exceeded the unrealized drawdown. Well, now for the second time, you guys have destroyed my accounts. The second. I'm not mad. I'm not disappointed. I'm just tired now, you know? I'm just tired of all your shenanigans. This is what happens when you lose your data feed and you can't actually trade elsewhere. Yeah, I'm still blocked out of Trade of 8, so I can't make any trades there. I suppose I could trade... Well, Piper can't fire yet because it's not 10 a.m. I guess boredom is causing us to lose a lot of money. You just need a nap. I feel like I need a nap. I feel like you're right. I can't believe you guys were telling me to short this when it was clearly trending up. We had higher highs and higher lows. It's almost as if you guys haven't learned anything about identifying the trend. Matt doesn't read Rumble. We aren't retarded enough. Jesus, Dewey. Again. I mean, these are expensive, folks. Like, this is costing me hundreds of dollars every single time this happens. Do we want to do one more? Do we want to do one more shot? I mean, there's kind of nothing else to do because right now Trade of 8 is down. Dude, these are very expensive. I want you guys to understand that I'm losing $500 every time you fuck this up on me. $499 a month. What are you guys doing to me? All right. At a certain point, this is financial abuse. I just want that to be clarified here. I feel like it actually would have worked. Here, we got to go to the new account now. All right. We have a fresh 50K account. We have this boredom is costing us. Dude, it would have worked. Should I go short now? All right. I'll let Rumble. Rumble chat is having an issue with YouTube chat. So, Rumble, if you're so smart, which way are you picking? I'm letting Rumble thinks they know what's going on here. Rumble thinks they're so much better. So, Rumble, you get to pick. You get to pick. Come on, Rumble. Someone's got to step up. Someone's got to step up. What's it going to be? Don't come to us when you're crying in the shower. To the right, yeah. Long at the bottom, short at the top. So you're betting, you've got to buy. So Strawberry Blonde is saying it's going to bounce here. You're betting on this breakdown. You're betting on the old breakdown. Maybe we should be a little bit more technical. Wyoming Upland Outfitters is screaming long now. That's confident. Flip a coin. That's one way to do it. That's one way to do it. We are going to bounce in 8 minutes. Okay, maybe a better way to do this is I'll do it right at 10 a.m. Maybe that's a more fair question rather than just like arbitrarily doing it. So at 10 a.m., we do have some more data. So maybe that's how we could play it. So if I were to place a trade exactly at 10 a.m., exactly at 10 a.m., how are you guys feeling about that one? How are you guys feeling about that one? 10 a.m. We have 8 minutes. 8 minutes. Should I be ripping the calls or ripping the puts? So I think that's a better way to fairly judge how you guys are, because before this, we were doing it right at market open. And then since you guys absolutely like destroyed my heart, we had to wait a little bit. And then the timing got weird. And there's some fair complaints. There's definitely some fair complaints. So once again, 10 a.m. If we rip it exactly at 10 a.m. And I'll give you all the information. Right now, Mag 7 was trending up, and it just got clocked at 950. S&P 500 was trending up, just got clocked at 950. With respect to momentum, 5-minute is bearish, 10-minute is bearish, 30-minute is bearish, 4-hour is bearish. With respect to the NASDAQ, 5-minute is bearish, 10-minute is bearish, 30-minute is bearish, and the 4-hour is bearish. So momentum is bearish. Options flow was looking good. It took a hit. That one's really taking a hit. So what do you guys, with all of that, do you want to fade it? Do you think the buyers are going to step in? Or do you think that this is actually going to get clocked? Which one? Don't trade at 10 a.m. No, we're already locking it in. We're already locking in the 10 a.m. concept. We're locking in the 10 a.m. concept, so that one's not really going to be up for debate here. But what is up for debate, or if you want, if you have an issue with 10, I could run it right before. We could do something like, if you answer quickly, like really quickly, we could do 9:55. But if we're going to do that, you guys have to answer like really quickly because it's 9:54 right now. It is. So, folks, you have sub 60 seconds. There's a 10-second delay. So we're going to run it before. We'll run it at 9:55. But someone needs to tell me, are you bullish? Are you bearish? Do you think these buyers are going to be stepping in? Happy to own real assets. Gonna bounce hard. You got to catch the bottom. Calls. P. Gaming is screaming calls. Bouncing. It's bouncing now. Bullish. Dude, I don't get what's with you guys, but you guys are more so saying bullish than anything else. What time is it? Okay, there's 20 seconds left on this one. Bearish AF. Well, Carlos, which is a trustworthy name, is coming in bearish. All right, but more of you are screaming bullish. All right. All right, all right, all right. All right. Like I said, we're doing it in 3, 2, 1, in. All right. Close with single order, 19. So, all right, cool. In right there, buy these calls, 920. We are attempting to get out at 2070. So we're going for the 1.5, and we're going to see. Thus far, we're slightly green. Now we're slightly red. Now we're red. And I think they're about to be, you guys. Yeah, these have to be gone at this point. Did I get the email? Nope. I think you guys already blew these out on me. I'm starting to wonder if you guys know how to read trend at all. I'm legitimately starting to wonder if you guys have any clue what you're talking about. I feel like I can only be angry at myself because I picked you guys as my financial advisors, but I'm really starting to question if I picked the worst financial advisors possible. So thanks for blowing out $1,500 on me today. I'm not salty about it. I'm totally not mad about it, and I'll get over it. Okay, it looks like Tradeovate is back, and now I have to trade well here to get all of this money back that you guys blew out on me. You dropped the cards. You did it to yourself. Hey, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. You're not right, but you're not wrong. All right, let me get rid of that. We don't need this. So it looks like the accounts are back where they should be. It looks like the data is coming through. It also looks like I missed a pretty nice short opportunity already this morning. So that's going to be interesting. Do I have my trade copier set up? I do. Trade copier is set up. We're good to go. You know what? Let's wait for the 10 a.m. hour. I don't need to do anything too crazy right now. So data is finally coming across. Tradeovate is back up. Shout out to whoever's in here. I can't believe we let a little bit of boredom cost me that much money, but I guess we could trade it. We can make it back. Whenever you're down in the casino. Yep, I just got the email from Vanquish that one blew out. So it officially blew out. You guys blew out 3 accounts today. What? You guys have a problem. I just want to throw that out there that you should probably talk to someone about that. That is very problematic. Oh, golly. All right, this is drawn improperly. Yeah, that's not looking so good, team. We are cracking. We've already taken out. Oop, that is not right. We're already taking out the overnight session low. And now we took out yesterday's low right here. We're diving. We are diving. We are diving. We are diving. Mag 7 starting to take a hit. The SPY taking a clear hit. And surprise, surprise, we are back to the all-important level of 6,900. If you were short, this is a reasonable level to lock in some of your profits. Obviously, I don't have a short position because you guys told me to go long, which was crazy. But alas, here we are. Bitcoin's getting beat up too. Silver's even turning. Everything's turning right now. How's gold? Gold and silver are both going down. Palantir is getting manhandled right now. All right, we have some announcements coming out in about 30 seconds. Let's see if they're going to be talking about that on lamestream media at all. Let's give these guys a chance to impress us on the day because you guys did not impress me. I'll get over it eventually. Maybe. I don't know. Watching 6,900, we're at the bottom of the transition zone, key technical level, key psychological level, key gamma level. A lot's going on right here. I wouldn't necessarily be chasing it in one direction or another, but something to pay attention to. Spot gamma's implied one-day move low is closer to 68.90. That is this zone right here. It's another important gamma level. The report just came out. What were the results? CNBC is not live yet. There they go. Let's see if they have the report for us.
Good Wednesday morning. Welcome to Squawk on the Street.
The
I'm
numbers
Sarah
were better
Eisen
than
with Carl
expected.
Quintanilla and David Faber. We are live, as always, at Post 9 of the New York
It
Stock
is
Exchange.
the
Coming up
50
this
May
hour, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent
876.
takes the Hill. We'll take you live to the hearing of the House Financial Services Committee in just a bit.
Oh,
plus the latest
the
on
Treasury
AMD's
Secretary
results,
is
what it says
taking
about
the stage?
AI trade as that stock pulls back despite solid earnings. And speaking of AI, the sell-off in software intensifies this morning as AI disruption fears grow.
Yeah,
what that
we're getting
dislocation
clocked,
means for the
folks.
broader market. Straight ahead.
Let's begin this morning with breaking news and the opening statements from the Treasury Secretary on Capitol Hill.
What is this
morning.
about?
Leslie Picker has
Is
that.
he
Morning,
saying
Leslie.
something that's messing this up?
Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent focusing in his opening remarks on this idea of regulation by reflex, as he calls it. He is expected to say that rather than preempting crises, regulators have frequently reacted to them after the fact. He calls that, quote, hazmat cleanup instead of preventing dangerous spillovers in the first place. Secretary Bessent, who will be speaking with the House Financial Services Committee shortly, is saying this regulation by reflex has undermined safety and soundness and driven excessive regulation that could lead to economic stagnation. He's expected to say, quote, under President Biden, the bank regulators preoccupied themselves with reputation risk, climate-related financial risks, and other risks with no clear nexus to safety and soundness. He is expected to say federal agencies should avoid the temptation to create a zero risk financial system. So we will be zoning in on those statements as well as the Q&A to follow with Congress, which should focus on more specifics surrounding the deregulatory priorities as well as perhaps Fed independence and other key topics that is front and center across Congress and beyond, guys.
Okay, Leslie. Thank you.
Interesting.
Leslie Picker. We'll take you to the testimony and the Q&A as soon as it begins. In the meantime, guys, the big economic report that we got is the ADP, private sector read on jobs, because it doesn't look like we're going to get the official
If you're in the
jobs
Discord,
report. Even though the
Piper
government is
just
open, we're waiting to
fired.
see
Once
for
again,
when they
if you are in the
reschedule that,
Discord,
presumably
Piper
next week.
just
so
fired.
We look to ADP, even though it's not exactly correlated with the government report, it does tell us some things, which is not so hot momentum on the job hiring front for the month of January. Total payrolls coming in at 22,000. Expectation was more than double for that. And if you look at where the jobs were added, a lot of them in services and not so much in the cyclical areas of the economy. It was in healthcare and education. That continues to be the job growers. We did see leisure and hospitality add, which is good.
All right,
The
we're at
goods
another
producing
important
sectors only
gamma level.
added
I want to see if buyers
1,000
step in right
jobs.
here.
So
We
kind of
do
what
know
we're showing, if you smooth
890
it out, 3-month average,
is
moving average
the
is
spot
now
gamma implied one-day move
10,000
low,
jobs
and it's
from
the bottom of
18,000
some of this
prior.
positive
So
gamma.
loss of
If that
momentum
cracks, we're then looking
on
at
the hiring front.
860.
And because I know you
Stability
guys
is dropping.
have been focused on this issue, manufacturing was a job loser again. And we've seen that now several months in a row. We haven't seen manufacturing add jobs in the ADP report since 2024, despite
Mag 7's getting
all the
hit.
tariffs and the
NASDAQ was getting hit, popping at 10:02. Might be a 10 a.m. reversal.
Page one of the Journal today.
Something to pay
US
attention to. We do see this
manufacturing in
commonly,
retreat
but
is
let's
how
see
they
if
put
it
it. And they have
fails.
charts of manufacturing construction, manufacturing employment, manufacturing job openings. David asked Hassett the other day on this show, what's taking so long? And Hassett's answer was essentially they haven't turned the machines on yet.
Yeah, right. They're still breaking ground, so to speak, and so it's going to be a while. Does that sound right to you, Sarah?
I mean, it could come. Look, the it's not just tariff policy.
Is this going to be a dead cat bounce?
It's the tax policy.
I mean, we're right
it's
at
the
this key
regulatory
level.
policy, and it's monetary policy, and all of that should set up a good environment and a better environment for manufacturing as a whole. So I don't think it's wrong to expect that that would come. I also think it's, people say, oh, the tariffs are adding uncertainty and making it harder. Obviously, international trade is tied to manufacturing in this country. A lot of what we make here is shipped overseas. So there's been disruption on that. And part of it is the way that the tariffs were done. A lot has changed. It's not like there was one big change and then manufacturers could plan. It wasn't a permanent change. I think the changes in the tariff code,
NASDAQ
there were
just
50
got
of them
dropped. That's why
in
I
the
took the
last year or
short.
So that's a lot of on again, off again, trying to figure out what the tariff. Once things settle, I think it's right to expect that maybe there might be some stability there once there's
But isn't that the key?
certainty.
I mean, you're on the right point, which is you don't know if there's going to be
don't
stability
know.
because the president, as we all well know, could post something on Truth Social right now that sort of upsets the balance in one country that there had been an anticipation things were sort of settled.
Yeah, I know.
And it's hard to allocate capital for something that's not going to get a return for years. If
Maybe
you just
a
feel like,
retail.
well, I don't know. I don't have a line of sight.
And I think
We're
that's
still
the
waiting
problem.
on Supreme Court decisions. We're getting closer to midterms. And every day you get closer to a potential new administration is the idea that, well, maybe I'll just wait. I can wait and see if policy does change.
Look, I think that
We're
I
back
think
up
the tariffs
to
are here, and the administration has made
25,200.
clear that tariffs are going to stay, at least while they're in power, right? As much as they can. Even with the Supreme Court decision, I think they have backup plans, and they've made that pretty clear that that's happening. So plan on tariffs. The question is, how much and where? You know, I know the apparel industry has been really eager for this India trade deal to go through. And the hope was that once these trade deals go through, then the business would have a better idea of where the tariffs, and it's largely true.
I mean, let's put the word deal in quotes because the EU thought they had a deal.
Frameworks for
and
deals.
then he threatened more tariffs over Greenland. That's to the uncertainty that David's referring to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or even
I think
South
it makes it
Korea,
harder.
where it's taken a long time, apparently, for their legislative process to work in terms of a deal, so it may change there. That said, there's a lot of money that at least has been promised as part of these trade deals that's supposed to come over here, that is supposed to be deployed, again, for building plants and things of that nature. I mean, one of the main reasons for the tariffs, right, is to create
bring
and bring manufacturing back. So it's it has created revenue.
Look,
we know
I think it's happening, but you know, you see the build of the data centers that is happening in this country. You can't deny that there's build happening, but it's not with as many workers as it used to be. Also,
and the data centers is not related to tariffs. It's related to obviously what we're talking
AI.
about every
I'm just
other
saying,
minute here.
There's construction and there's manufacturing happening in this country. It's probably with fewer workers than it used to be in automation,
yes,
right?
and
with
data
automation
centers,
and
of
robotics.
course, once they are built, as we point out, it does not take many people to actually run a data center. The construction is a significant employer, but
I'm trying to
after
take
that, it's
risk
not.
off the
We've tried.
table,
I don't know
but it
what'll be
does
in all
feel
these factories
a
of the
little
future as well, to
early.
your
But I'm
point.
not really
A lot
in
of them may be
love
run
with
by
my
robots.
position
I mean, it's
because
a
of
question.
that.
Look, we have Novartis on next hour. All these drug manufacturers have announced billions of dollars in manufacturing in this country, and they're on board with the idea that we're going to become more self-sufficient when it comes to the supply chain of drugs.
And there's a national security over. I mean, certainly that's an important part of national security.
The question is, how many people do they hire, and over what time
I got knocked
period?
out.
And when is it going to start to show up? And that's I think what the administration
And
is
how
betting
does
on.
it comp with what their plans would have been with anyway, right? That's the other question is what's incremental?
Sure.
We don't know.
I mean, look, there have been a lot more announcements.
Got
since
knocked
President
out,
Trump
by
has
the
been
way.
in office
That
and when
recent
President
high,
Biden was in office
I
about
just didn't want to
companies
risk much more
investing
than
in the
that.
United States. I think you have to acknowledge that. The only other piece that I wanted to point out in the ADP data was the wage numbers, because remarkably stable, even with the slower job growth,
Remarkably
which tells
stable.
you maybe the slower
What time
job
is
growth
it?
is
It's
related to things like
10:08.
lower supply and immigration.
Is it the
So for
10
those
a.m.
that stayed in their
reversal?
jobs,
I guess we gotta be
4.5%
careful
increase.
here.
That was actually a little higher than the previous month.
Yeah.
For those that changed
Gotta be
jobs,
careful
6.4,
here.
a tiny bit lower. But the stability is what stands out to me. It's not like we're seeing a big decrease in wages that are getting
here's-
paid.
you
Because
could see
companies
it's just
are pulling
kind of
back
messing
from
around
hiring
at
or
this
anything like that.
200
That's
run.
why there's this big debate about just how.
And while
how
that's
worrisome
happening,
the
SPX
lack
did
of job
recapture
growth
900. The question
really
is
in the
this a
economy
fake
right now.
out? If you took that
All right,
breakout, great.
let's
You're
turn now
risking
to
the recent low.
AMD. The stock is down.
AMD did. I wonder what they're going to say about this.
dramatically, actually.
AMD did
They're
get messed up.
I don't know,
Mag 7's going
14%, is that
flat.
dramatic? It's
SPY
pretty-
some buying did
good.
start at
Solid
10:05.
results and guidance, though. CEO Lisa Su joined us last hour. She talked about the quarter and, of course, one key part of the business.
We're actually seeing our data center business actually increase from Q4 into Q1, which is a show of the strength of the business, both on the CPU side, which is going like gangbusters, and with our AI capabilities and GPUs, we're seeing very nice
picking
ramp
up.
into the first half of the year. But yes, we're going to have an inflection point as we go into the second half of the year with our new MI450 series and our Helios rack systems.
Joining us now, Bernstein senior analyst Stacey Raskin. Market perform rating is what Stacey has
Okay,
on the
the
stock.
1
Looks
minute
good
on
today, at least.
SPX
The
is
stock
trying to
down
actually
for the
push
year. What's your
bullish
take on the
here.
quarter, Stacey?
NQ has a little bit more distance to go. This is kind of that weird equilibrium point of, are we switching trend, or is this just like the dead cat bounce that fails? So we gotta stay a little bit patient here.
Expectations were clearly very high.
Obviously, it does favor the bears because the 5 minute, 10 minute, 30 minute, 4 hour are bearish. 5 minute, 10 minute, 30 minute, 4 hour are bearish. So please keep that in mind. If you are chasing it to the upside, just respect your risk there. Maybe it does switch trend, or maybe it just gets smashed.
Sales into China, given some of the easing of the regulatory, which was not in numbers. And so if you take that out, there wasn't a lot of near-term AI upside, which I think people have been looking for. You didn't quite get that. And I would say the OPEX, the spending.
This is all
keeps
about
going up. And
AMD.
I'm not knocking them for spending. I understand why, but at the same time, they don't seem to have any control.
I think most interesting is, does SPX actually hold 6,900 or not?
Limiting the EPS leverage. So even with a revenue guide that was decently above the street, the EPS guide was like almost in line. And so you kind of like take all of that in the context of very high expectations. And the idea that it really is a waiting game, because we're actually waiting, the big ramp on AI is coming from OpenAI, which is at the end of the year, and it's only January. I guess that's why it's down. Although I will say the magnitude today is surprising me a little bit.
Yeah, well, you know, when we talked to Lisa about an hour ago,
Volatility.
she said that
Definitely here.
AI is accelerating at a scale that I would not have imagined. And she was saying, and then
If
I
it
asked her for
fails,
more,
I might throw in a bearish
around
position,
context. And even
short
6 months ago,
NQ.
I couldn't have imagined that. When a CEO of a company like this says something like that, don't you want to just buy the stock?
Yeah, but I mean, look where the numbers
Buyers
are.
keep
right?
stepping in on
So
every
they
little
had analyst day
pullback
not
here.
that
They
long
are
ago,
stepping
and they
in,
said,
but how
we're
long
gonna
will it
grow
last?
Data center 60% CAGR
Wow,
for
that's
the
a
next
pop.
like several years. And
I was
numbers are
looking
there,
at this potential
right? And
failure
in
right
fact,
there, but as soon as
what
it pulls
we
back a
really
little
need
bit,
from them
pop.
is probably new
Mag
customer
7.
announcements, and not small ones. Like OpenAI is a multi-gigawatt deal. They probably need to announce like more deals of a similar scale, because if you look at where the numbers are right now, you probably can't, even as big as OpenAI is,
AMD getting
you can't get to where the
clobbered by
numbers
their
are now
earnings.
with just OpenAI, and you can't get them with incremental additional deals. They need to be big. And they keep saying we've got a lot of customer engagements, and they've said that for a while. We haven't seen anything yet. I think that probably is what the street is waiting for before they could take it the next leg higher. Like we need to see that.
So before you get more positive on the stock,
The
it sounds
very,
like that's
very
what you
short
need to see
term
as
is
well.
switching bullish.
I mean, yeah, like,
As soon as
I'll
you
be
get
honest,
right
like,
above that,
part of me
it's
has
still holding
wondered,
bearish for now. Obviously,
you know,
trends
do
change, but
customers
just
really want to use AMD's products for
everything
their
was
own sake
bearish.
or
This
not?
bounce
I mean,
since
you can
10
kinda
is going a
compare with
little
Nvidia's
bullish, but
products, and
it might be a dead cat
I mean,
bounce.
the AMD stuff
Patience is
the
obviously
racks
what
are
we
much
need.
bigger and they burn more power, and the
SPX
performance isn't
is
as
trying to
good,
go
and the
bullish.
software ecosystem
I'm
is
watching
not
this
nearly as
right here.
mature. And so, like,
NQ
if you can buy Rubin
is still
or
bearish.
whatever, like why are you buying Helios? Although I will also say that sort of the PM level, like bull call on AMD isn't that hard. They're going to go from being a marginal player in AI to a slightly less marginal player in AI, and for AMD, maybe that's enough. You know, they go from 4% market share to 10% in a market that's growing to $1 trillion plus. Over time, maybe that's enough. Like, so the case is simple, but we need to see it. Like we haven't seen it yet.
I wanted to ask you about Nvidia because it's down again today. What is Stacey? What's wrong with Nvidia? Why is it sort of marching in place over the last few months and showing signs of weakness?
It's really strange. So yeah, there's been a bit of a pause in like the Nvidias.
Dude, these ranges are crazy today.
The things that have been ripping have actually been the things that are more like around the supply constraints and memory and semi-cap and that sort of thing. And I kind of understand it. You know, why are they ripping?
I just keep getting stopped out. I'm trying to stab it. I'm trying to take a stab at the short, but all these pops are knocking me out.
Presumably, you're going to build it for the Nvidias and the Broadcoms and even the AMDs of the world, right? And to my mind, there's an increasing divergence that probably is not
right here. I try to get in on this one. I try to get in on this one,
right?
And I'm not giving it much room.
There will be a catch-up
so that's just the knockouts that you're hearing.
And the like.
But I am trying to catch it short.
The numbers come through as they report, and as we get more data points, like on the ramp as we go through the year. But there's a very interesting divergence between those two classes of companies that's been a little bit puzzling. I agree.
Stacey, we mentioned Lip-Bu Tan commenting on memory yesterday at this AI summit, suggesting probably no relief through 27. Does that ring true to you?
Maybe, right? I mean, so they're like memory supply is very tight, and prices are going up a gazillion percent, every day. And I don't know if any of your listeners here have tried to build a PC recently, but the RAM prices are very expensive. And most of the memory companies are talking about that their capacity is committed, like out several years, like even into that kind of a time frame. So
I just keep getting knocked out,
the
dude.
demand stays out. I don't know. Like, my colleague of mine covers the memory space, so I'll let them comment on the longer term view. And I know, like, these cycles in general eventually tend to end badly, I will say. This one probably looks like the ingredients are probably in place for it to have some legs, though. There's not a lot of clean room space out there. So
is this turning or not? Like, now we're just going sideways. Which way is it going to break? We're just slowing down.
The charts. And for things
right
like
here,
AI,
which way is this going to break?
Memory, it sucks up bits. Like, if I'm making a gigabyte of high bandwidth memory for an AI chip, it takes 4 times as many wafers as making a gigabyte of, like, standard, DRAM for your PC. And so it's sucking up wafers and bits as the AI demand drives it. And so those are all ingredients that suggest that this could have some legs to it.
Order submitted.
Yeah. I'm just
well,
updating
the AI
my
demand
risk.
only seems to be going one way.
Just because
it's
going.
Stacey,
I don't know
thank
which way this is going to break. It feels like it's going to break to the downside. Just commenting on the options flow, but options flows, it's dynamic.
Here's our roadmap for the rest of the hour. Still ahead, we're going to take you to Washington for Treasury Secretary Bessent's hearing in front of the House Financial Services Committee.
Plus, Eli Lilly is surging, that is the stock, on strong demand for, of course, its weight loss and diabetes drugs. We're going to hear what the company's CEO told CNBC this morning about the outlook.
And we'll talk about this AI anxiety in the software space and whether there's contagion concern for the rest of the market. Palantir down 10. That's a fresh 6-month low. Squawk on the Street's back in a minute.
Squawk on the Street.
Order submitted.
All right. Do we have the link for the Treasury Secretary thing? Because that could get a little bit interesting. So it sounds like he's going to get rocking from Capitol Hill. Bessent testimony today. News. House panel. Is this going to get rocking today? Let me see if I could find a link for this. Hang on one quick second. I am looking for short positions on NQ. Okay, I just got filled on another short. Trying to play a little bit of catch up here, I suppose. Hang on, let me see. Bessent House panel. All right, what is this one? Here we go.
That includes CFPB Acting Director Russell Vought, who must be held accountable for dismantling the CFPB. This includes FHA Director and Bill Pulte.
Maxine Waters. Live Treasury Secretary Bessent testifies before House Committee on the U.S. economy. So Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, definitely could be impactful here.
Attack Trump's political enemies and who is incompetently.
I'm going to get stopped out again, dude.
Dumb housing policies like a 50-year mortgage. Every turn, committee, Democrats and I are standing up for America's consumers, defending strong safeguards, fighting corporate abuse and the corruption of the Trump family. It's just common sense. Our economy should work for everyone, not just for Trump, that billionaire circles that he's involved with. Republicans need to stand up to Trump, defend our regulators.
Potential breakdown here. Like we were flat, we puked, we bounced, and now we're pushing on the bottom line of this.
Software names getting hit again today, extending their recent sell-off.
For a 1-minute opening statement. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Secretary Bessent, welcome back to the committee. Under your leadership,
Mag 7 was good, got hit, now drifting down. S&P 500 got hit, bounced flat, but
common sense legislation like the Main Street Capital
Access Act, it's going to come to 6,900. Like, this is clearly the test. Are we above or below 6,900?
Highlighted in its annual report. I'm proud to sponsor the TIER Act and the Community Bank Regulatory Tailoring Act that will modernize outdated statutory thresholds that impose disproportionate regulatory burdens on our financial system. This committee, along with FSOC, can successfully support our community lenders and allow them to thrive under right-sized regulation with this legislation in place. Regulatory tailoring helps to protect the diversity of our financial system, which is itself key to promoting financial stability. I look forward to working with the Treasury Department as you implement my outbound investment legislation that the President signed into law in December. With you at the reins, FSOC has returned to its core values and away from the weaponization and disarray we experienced under the Biden administration. I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. I recognize the ranking member of our Subcommittee of Financial Institutions, Dr. Bill Foster of Illinois, for a 1-minute opening statement.
Thank you, Chair Hill. Mark Twain is credited with observing that history does not repeat but often rhymes, and those of us who served on this committee during the financial crisis recognize this poem and its tragic ending. We have once again a historically unpopular president, fixated on the glory of his overseas misadventures and foreign bailouts. We have once again a multi-trillion-dollar asset bubble underpinned by opaque and conflicted financial mechanisms that nobody understands.
Got knocked out of another dude. I'm death by a 1,000 paper cuts today.
And we have families all over America who, despite all the happy talk from the president, are having a hard time paying their mortgages and their monthly bills. You can hardly open any financial news source without seeing a discussion of the pending collapse of the AI circular investment bubble. And that is why we created the FSOC. And that is why last November, Democrats on this committee sent you a letter as chair of FSOC to figure out what we'll have to do when the music stops. Your response was insufficient, dismissive, and dangerous to our economy. I look forward to hearing more from our questions and yield back.
Gentleman yields back.
Just sideways. I'm getting caught up in this chop again. I do think it favors the Bears, just 5-minute, 10-minute, 30-minute, 4 hours, all bearish.
Secretary Bessent, we thank you for taking time to join us today. We'll be recognized for 5 minutes to give a oral presentation of your written testimony.
Bearish,
without objection,
bearish.
Your will be made part of the record.
Might be a higher low.
Recognized for 5 minutes.
Chairman Hill, Ranking Member Waters, and members of the committee, thank you for inviting me to discuss the Financial Stability Oversight Council's 2025 annual report. This report is a culmination of extensive collaboration amongst FSOC members. I'd like to thank them for their hard work and dedication in advancing the President's bold vision for a better America. Since day one, President Trump has focused on building parallel prosperity, an era of economic expansion where Wall Street and Main Street can grow together. To that end, Treasury has tirelessly pursued pro-growth policies to unlock the potential available to all Americans when they are free to
right
save,
up,
invest,
getting smacked. We ran right up, getting smacked. We're just in a painful lack of trend right now.
Delivering on this agenda. Too often in the past, we have seen regulation by reflex.
This is Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent commenting on the economy.
After the fact, they played the role of a hazmat cleanup team instead of preventing dangerous spillovers in the first place.
This is the low from yesterday.
Regulation by reflex has led to a regulatory myopia that has undermined safety and soundness. Under President Biden, the bank regulators preoccupied themselves with reputation risk, climate-related financial risk, and other risks with no clear nexus to safety and soundness. At the same time, they centered supervision on management and other governance matters that distracted examiners and banks' risk managers from the real risk to safety and soundness. The result, predictably, was the second, third, and fourth largest bank failures in U.S. history in 2023. Besides undermining safety and soundness,
this is just a choppy fucking mess.
Has driven excessive
I just keep updating my wrist to try to take some off the table. I'm just getting eaten alive on this chop right now.
A grave threat to financial stability. In calibrating regulations, federal agencies must avoid the temptation to create a zero-risk financial system, which would result in what others have called the stability of the graveyard. FSOC should aim to identify vulnerabilities that could lead to systemic crises and encourage the private sector to mitigate those risks before recommending additional regulation. FSOC should also work with its members to support efforts to avoid or pare back existing regulation that stifles
on the 1 minute, we do potentially have higher highs and higher lows, bottoming out at like 10:02.
These goals is by centering economic growth and economic security at the heart of FSOC's agenda. Promoting economic growth and economic security is essential to ensuring financial stability. Economic growth strengthens household, business, and financial institution balance sheets, creating capital buffers that reduce the risk of defaults and financial stress. And economic security
I might be now
domestic
looking for
production
longs now that
capacity,
we're getting back up
raising
here.
living standards while reducing
Low risk
vulnerability
though,
to
because
external
momentum is
shocks
still
and
suspect.
supply chain disruptions. FSOC's annual report prioritizes economic
Flow,
growth
Mag 7 got a
and
little bit of a pop,
economic
not
security
much. SPY is
with
going
specific
flat.
Focus on 4 policy
We're
areas:
still in this danger
Treasury
zone.
markets, cybersecurity, regulatory modernization, and AI.
Will it double top here
First,
at 25?
The Council is ensuring that the U.S. Treasury market remains the deepest and most liquid in the world. The Council is supporting efforts by member agencies to strengthen this market against future shocks, including through the Interagency Working Group on Treasury Market Surveillance and the Market Resilience Working Group. Ongoing monitoring and targeted reforms by individual agencies remain essential to financial stability. Second, the Council is taking action to protect our financial system from increasingly sophisticated cyber attacks. Nation-state actors and criminal groups continue to target our financial institutions and infrastructure. To address this risk, the Council is supporting expanded information sharing, joint monitoring, and scenario-based exercises, and it is emphasizing the need for regulated firms to manage cyber risks tied to third-party service providers. Third,
Order submitted.
All right, on that pump right there, I am attempting a long.
For banks and credit unions.
Once again, a long on NQ. I'm going to try to do minimal risk because I don't like that it's anti-trend, but maybe this is a trend switch. At 350 would be the test.
Banks. Fourth, the Council is prioritizing the
VWAP is 324.
Intelligence to strengthen financial stability. The Council is working with public and private
dude,
partners,
I'm getting beaten up today.
Counterparts to enhance system
I just like
resilience.
$500 hit, $500 hit, $500 hit, $500 hit.
I will close by
I'm not
highlighting
spazzing
our
out.
progress in
I'm
enhancing
trading
the
still
utility
just
of our annual
like
report.
one contract.
In
I'm
this
not
year's report,
doing
FSOC
anything
shifted
bad,
away
but
from
I am
its
getting
past
clocked
approach,
here
where nearly every
as of
major
now.
market and
But if I can
financial
catch
sector
one
was
trend, I'll be able to make it
described
all
as a
back.
Financial stability
But
vulnerability.
I've given a
By
lot of
introducing a new
$500-600
structure
hits
centered
back.
on fostering economic growth and security, we're tuning out the noise to
Dude, I'm gonna
concentrate
get
on the
clocked
issues
again.
that matter most for U.S. financial stability. With this overview, I look forward to taking your questions.
We'll now thank the Secretary, and we will turn to member questions, and I recognize myself for 5 minutes for questions. You made a persuasive case that since President Trump was sworn in, that economic growth is the cornerstone of his presidency, and you highlighted today, as you have in speeches over the year, the importance of that Wall Street's doing well, but it's Main Street's turn, and you'd like to see economic growth expanded into what I always quote from Steve Case, the rise of the rest, where we see that economic performance expand across the country.
What are we doing?
We share that commitment here on this committee about
this gonna
reversing
hold,
elements
or
of
is
the
it just a
regulatory
double
framework
top
that
right
has sought,
here?
possibly, certainly well-intentioned, the concept of too big to fail, but ended up in creating an environment over the past 15 years where community banks are too small to succeed, or maybe avoiding your term today you chose to use, the stability of the graveyard. The committee has worked together on a bipartisan basis to highlight some of the principal actions that we've considered over the past year. Our Main Street Capital Access Act, which we intend to bring to the House floor. We're grateful for your Undersecretary, Mr. McKernan, who last month joined us as we rolled out that package to talk about how we can collaborate. Would you take a minute and from your perspective, how do strong, well-capitalized community banks and the benefits of tailoring that are in this legislative proposal help accomplish faster economic growth and the rise of the rest?
Chairman Hill, as I've said,
dude, is it another trend reversal? Dude, holy shit. I'm just getting chopped up right now. I do have a long on NQ.
And I would note
horrible
that thanks
fill.
to onerous regulation, and as you and I both
I
say,
just keep taking these $500
community
hits.
and small banks
Took
became
$1,000
too small
hit.
to succeed. Tragically, more than 50% are
I'm watching it closely, but it's not going my way. But to comment on relative to last Friday, I'm still trading one contract. I haven't like gone bonkers and started trading 10 to try to make it back.
And small and community banks not only are the anchor for community-based lending, but they provide the bulk of the lending for agriculture, for small real estate loans, and for small business loans. So a thriving community bank infrastructure and ecosystem is essential. I've met with more individually and in roundtables with more than 200 community bankers. I've spoken at conferences with more than 1,000, and tailoring is essential. I had one banker from my home state in South Carolina with assets of about $200 million tell me that under the previous regulatory
just don't
regime,
look at all these
she was told that she should be more like Bank America,
trades,
the second largest bank in the country. And so it is essential that we have
what's the
right
flow looking like? This
tailoring,
is
right risk levels, and right monitoring.
good.
Of these important
Hit,
institutions.
pop, flat.
We thank you for your perspective on that, and to illustrate it in our
so
work we've done on
indecisive
housing
here.
in the committee, also
Like, is
on
this
a
just another
bipartisan
higher
basis,
low?
It was noted that
Silver's
banks
getting
under
hit.
$10 billion in size, really the heart of our community banking system, several thousand banks across the country, they make 60% of our 1 to 4 family construction loans. And while banks of all sizes deliver amazing capital access in our economy, at the heart of our main streets, if we want more housing supply, we find that it's really
1 minute
local,
on NQ is pushing back
grassroots,
bearish.
public or privately held community
SPX
bank
1
that
minute
helps
is trying to
lead that.
hold bullish
You
right
mentioned
here.
De novos, and under Chairman Barr's leadership in our subcommittee, and on again with bipartisan support, we've enhanced in the Main Street Capital Access Act ways we think that will speed up and make easier to get both deposit insurance, raise capital, and tell the story about having more dynamic de novo bank formations that, as you say, have been so slowed by the
I'm going to
last
get clocked
15
again,
years.
dude. I just
Turning
can't
to,
catch this trend
digital
today.
assets, something that
Just
we've
these
talked
ranges
about quite a
are
bit in the
fucking
time
monstrous.
remaining. Can you tell me your assessment of how the regulatory process is coming for the implementation of the Genius Act?
I'm just keeping it in my mind, keep my
the Genius
size in
Act was an
control.
important
Let's trade one contract,
act,
and
important piece of
you
legislation.
just need one
for
good trend to
bringing
make it all back.
on
So the
into
paper
the
cuts,
US,
they do suck, but
the
I'm just reminding myself,
regulation,
if you
creation
trade
of
one
digital
contract,
assets,
it
and
just
making
inherently
the United
can't get
States a
that
national
bad.
champion. The Genius Act and the stable coins that will be created with that could, in fact, be an important feature of financing the U.S. government. And we are moving with
Patience,
deliberate speed
patience, patience.
to round out the House and the Senate's intention on that important,
Thank you very much, Mr.
important
Secretary.
piece of legislation.
Appreciate your work and leadership there. I now recognize the ranking member of our committee, Mrs. Waters of California, for 5 minutes for questions.
Thank
What's
you very
this
much,
lady have
Secretary
to say?
In the
Probably
FSOC
nothing of much
annual
utility.
report, you stressed the importance of economic growth to promote financial stability. While you noted many ways you plan to deregulate Wall Street and plant the seeds for another crisis, you said little about the harms of inflation. I find this odd as the president and you have finally began discussing in the media how the price of goods are way too high. Notably, you mentioned that
Yeah, we
tariffs
ripped
may
through
need to
that
come
load
down
yesterday.
to lower costs for Americans. So I have a few questions about this. As a former hedge fund manager in 2004, and I don't want you to go into any long details about this, but did you write a letter to investors raising concerns about the impact of tariffs?
Seems like we're having an
writing
issue
that,
at the 50%
quote,
retracement of
tariffs are
IB.
inflationary? Did you say that at that time, yes or no?
No.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we have a New York Times article that, agrees that you
New
said
York
that.
Times.
Then last summer, when you testified before a Senate committee, you said, and I quote, "There is no inflation. Tariffs are not being passed on to consumers." You were quite definitive and even claimed that critics had, quote, "tariff derangement syndrome." Well, those comments are at odds with the statement you made to investors that tariffs are inflationary. Again, I want to be
Order
clear.
filled.
So
All
just
right,
let
switch
me
that
ask
long to
you,
a short.
Are tariffs inflationary? Yes or
Order
no?
filled.
According to the San Francisco Federal
Order
Reserve,
Dude,
submitted.
150
I'm
years
just
of data,
getting fucking
Yes or no?
shocked
Tariffs do
like
not cause
no
inflation.
other.
San Francisco Federal
Well, last
Reserve
November,
Congresswoman,
as the Trump administration finally began to realize
150 years
that
of data.
affordability issues in America are not a hoax, you told Fox News that the government was going to reduce tariffs on goods like coffee and bananas, and that doing so would, quote, bring the prices down very quickly. Mr. Secretary, why was that announcement even necessary? If tariffs aren't inflationary, and as you and the president like to say, are paid for by foreign countries, by the foreign
The
countries,
reason I
a
went
tariff
back
on
to being
coffee or
bearish
bananas
was
shouldn't raise
very,
the
very
price
simple.
either
Right
for
here,
American
I tried to go
consumers. Well,
bullish when this
that's the
converted.
Trump
It failed.
logic,
I got
but that
out.
isn't
I admitted I
reality.
was wrong.
It did
And then
raise
looking at this,
prices
it once
across the
again, it
board.
tried to go
You know
bullish.
it.
I tried to get
I think
onto
you
it.
knew back
Nope,
in
it ended
July
up
also.
failing.
The real question
I
is,
just have
why
to
would you
trade the
even
trend that's in front of
impose
me,
a tariff
and
on
I'm
a
just
good
getting
that
chopped
a
like
country
no
doesn't
other.
grow
I had
or make?
all the shorts
As
in
that
here
would
that
only
would have
serve
worked,
to punish
except
the American
I
consumer.
wasn't
Now,
willing to risk
as you
this
know,
switch trend
this
and rip
committee
against me.
has taken
So
a
yeah, if I held
bipartisan
it, I would
approach
actually
to
be up
addressing
right now.
another real
But I got chopped
affordability
out. I
crisis.
got chopped out on these
Housing
shorts. Then I went
rents are
long,
too
got chopped out
high.
on those longs,
There aren't
and now
enough
I'm back
houses.
short.
However,
I'm just getting
one
whipped
clear
like no
reason
other.
that the housing crisis has grown worse is that you and the rest of the Trump administration levied tariffs on housing production goods like lumber and steel, as well as appliances. These tariffs will result in half.
Lumber is
reclaiming my time. You don't get to talk.
Lumber is at a
Reclaiming my
5-year
time.
low, Congresswoman.
Reclaiming my time.
Reclaiming my time.
Reclaiming my time.
All right.
Thank you. However, one clear
Let's mark
reason
out this
that
low
the
of the
housing
day.
crisis has gone worse is that you and the rest of the Trump administration levied tariffs on housing production goods like lumber and steel.
I'm almost
as
afraid
I
to check
said,
my accounts.
as well
This got
as
bad and it's
appliances.
got bad
These
quick.
tariffs will result in 500,000 fewer homes built at a time when we need more homes built. Not
We're
less.
testing this 900 again.
Single-handedly made housing more expensive. And once again, you know it, as Axios has reported that you were planning to lift tariffs on housing production goods. In addition, the unlawful campaign the Trump administration has waged with ICE and Border Patrol, terrorizing American communities, has also harmed home construction across America. So I ask you, Secretary Benson, will you be the voice of reason in the administration and urge Trump to stop waging a war on American consumers and on housing or affordability?
Feels like they're just generically
and putting
bitching about the
at risk?
economy.
Yes or no? You don't have to explain.
Representative Waters,
Will you be the voice? Will you be the voice? Will you be the voice? Will you be the voice of reason? Will you be the voice of reason?
A study
Yes or
from
no?
Wharton University.
Reclaiming
Are
my
they children?
time. Reclaiming my time. Reclaiming my time.
Was the mass
Reclaiming my
Mr.
time.
Chair, will you
let
let
in
him know
between 10
that
and
when I
20
ask
million
him time
immigrants.
to
Time does
Took
belong
up
to
the
the
housing
gentlewoman
stock.
from California.
10 and 20 million immigrants
Can you
took
shut
up the
him up?
housing stock of working Americans, and can you maintain some level of dignity?
Gentlelady's time has expired.
No, my time has not expired.
Your time has expired. And the
The
gentleman,
gentleman took up my time. I think you should recognize that, Mr. Chair.
the gentlewoman's
He took
time
up
has
my
expired.
Did
The
he,
gentleman's
though?
time has
Well,
expired.
if you want to,
parliamentary
if you want to
chair,
protect him,
the chair
Mr.
recognizes the vice chairman of the
Mr.
committee.
Chair,
In the Discord, I just did an
Parliamentary
options
inquiry.
trade
go right ahead.
as
but
everyone's
I would
yelling,
not
yelling,
expect you to
yelling,
do
yelling.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I will grant very briefly any time that you feel like you need to address anything.
Again, I think the ranking member does not understand.
Mr. Secretary, I'm sorry. The gentleman will suspend. There's a parliamentary inquiry. Mr. Sherman?
Mr. Chair, will you enforce the rules of this committee so that the time belongs to the questioner and prevent filibusters from taking time away? And if those filibusters, by the witness,
The market
do
just
take
went
time
nuts.
away, will you
What
allocate
the fuck
additional
is
time?
happening
I will
today,
enforce
dude?
the 5-minute rule. The
I
gentleman
want my
from-
time back.
The gentleman
I
from
want
Michigan
my
is
time back.
I grant briefly
Dude,
anything that you
I'm
feel
getting
you need to
whipped
address.
out.
I
like
believe the
fucking
ranking member
no
does not
other
understand
today.
the definition of generalized
Order, Phil.
inflation versus one-time price
Order, Phil.
increases.
That's my
I would
evals
also
getting
note
blown out.
That housing, especially for working Americans, a Wharton
Order,
study
Phil.
has shown
Dude, we
that
just
the mass
bounced
unfettered
100
immigration,
points on
adding 10
NQ.
to 20
Holy
million
shit
new
today.
people demanding housing Congresswoman, is what caused a great deal of housing inflation for working Americans. So you and the Biden administration should be ashamed.
Which is also why we are seeing rents.
Evals just got lost on that,
story
Bob.
on this. Rents are going down partially.
I was
because
short.
of
I had it.
enforcement. Mr. Secretary,
Evals lost.
Supply and demand continues.
Dude, these
I've got a
balances
number
are
of issues I gotta hit.
gigantic.
Very briefly here on FSOC, I need to talk then Burma and 3%. You talked about with the chairman about regulators using tailored market approach
What
tools.
even was that?
How are you ensuring that
Something
FSOC's
in the Mag
current work
7 just
continues
went
to
crazy.
prioritize
Spy 2
activity-based,
quickly getting
transparent,
faded out.
analytically rigorous approach grounded in cost-benefit analysis and coordination with functional regulators when evaluating potential risks in non-bank financial markets?
That is done primarily for small banks through the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency and the FDIC. And those chairs are intent on tailoring the rules for small banks so that we do not have another 50% decrease in Main Street lending.
Look at that.
You outlined
right there. 1038 is what blew out my evals.
Number 2 was protecting from cyber attacks. We have seen a rise
I'm getting
in those
my ass handed to me today.
cyber attacks and scam centers in Burma. And I applaud you and Treasury for some of your work in that, including sanctioning North Korean individuals, selling weapons to the Burmese military regime, as well as the Democratic
reclaiming my
Benevolent
time.
Army.
I'd like to reclaim my trade
organized
here.
these scam centers. However, last week it was reported that Iran was secretly shipping vast amounts of jet fuel in Burma.
That was pretty much a gnarly bounce off of 6,900.
Here, but that's why last year I introduced a bipartisan legislation that would specifically require the president to determine whether to impose stronger blocking sanctions on Myanmar Oil and Gas, Myanmar Economic Bank, and foreign persons operating in the jet fuel sector of the Burmese economy. I read recently that Treasury responded to Reuters' report by noting that Iran's quest for, quote, new markets is a sign that President Trump's policies are working, which I would agree. I'm also aware that Burma's military leaders have attempted to gain favor with the president, especially when it comes to lowering tariffs levied on his country. This is something that simply cannot happen. I represent a significant Rohingya population and know that the active bombing that is going on is unacceptable.
What are we talking about now?
I believe we must continue.
Which
to
way is the market
on
going?
The Burmese military rulers. What tools can Treasury use to punish both Iran and Burma for violating both U.S. and other Western country sanctions?
Well, with respect to Iran, President Trump, upon entering office, instructed U.S. Treasury to implement a maximum pressure campaign, and we saw the fruits of that campaign in December as the Iranian economy has collapsed. We had a large bank collapse there. The central bank was forced to bail it out, created inflation, and the brave Iranian people have taken to the streets. We continuously monitor trade between two countries like that. The good news would be Iran has a significant shortage of dollars to buy, whether it is weapons or
what the fuck is today, dude?
The people, or to pad
what is
Swiss bank accounts of the Iranian regime.
It cannot make up its mind.
We've got to keep the pressure up on Iran, but also that pressure on the Burmese junta, please. Lastly, I'd be remiss if I did not thank you in public for your discussion of a desire to lower the deficits to 3% of the GDP. I've introduced, along with 14 of my colleagues from the Bipartisan Fiscal Forum that I chair with Congressman Scott Peters out of California, that urges the House to achieve this 3% goal by 2030, a tangible, achievable goal that is desperately needed, and we're building consensus here in the House. I know you and the administration take the ticking debt bomb seriously, and I hope that to continue this conversation with you. I don't know if you can, in 10 seconds, address
I look forward to working with you on that, and I would note that the deficit to GDP, calendar year 2024, 7%, highest, not at war, not in recession. Calendar 2025, down to 5.4%.
I yield back. Thank you.
Chair recognizes the gentleman from
Today, for
California,
me,
our
this
ranking
is a
member of our
death
Capital
by
Markets
1,000
Subcommittee.
paper
Mr. Sherman,
cuts.
you're recognized for
Like,
5
if I
minutes.
catch
I want to agree
the
with the
trend
gentleman
that
from
comes from
Michigan
this,
that we need
yeah,
to
maybe
impose
then I
those
could get out of
sanctions
it.
on the
But thus
Myanmar
far,
regime
we just,
and protect, of
I'm
course,
just
the
getting
Rohingya
whipped like no
minority
other,
to the extent we
unfortunately.
can.
Had I been doing stupid little scalp trades, I probably would have had an amazing day, but I'm trying to catch the
FSOC
trend.
has to define what is systemic.
This is such
I,
a
for
pain
one,
in the
think that we
ass.
shouldn't be focusing on the assets, but rather the
The sellers
liabilities.
at 230.
We didn't have a problem in 2008 because the banks had too many assets. We had a problem because they had too many liabilities. So I don't see how most...
Congressman, that's incorrect. Ben Bernanke, then Fed chair, said, could you please tell me what these assets are?
I'm going to reclaim my time.
Dude.
Regardless of that, I'm going to ask you whether you... not going to ask you to agree with me. I'm going to ask you to agree with your predecessor, Secretary Mnuchin. During the first Trump administration, that Secretary Mnuchin promulgated interpretive guidance that prioritized an activities-based approach to systemic risk regulation over an entity approach. Secretary Benson, you have indicated that you want to kick off a review of FSOC's activities and processes. The FSOC Improvement Act, led by my colleague,
This is
Dr.
so
Foster,
incredibly
which I've
indecisive.
co-sponsored, as you know,
SPX,
would
bearish,
codify
bullish,
an activities-based
bullish,
approach
NQ,
to
bearish,
systemic
bullish,
risk
bearish,
regulation.
bullish.
Does the FSOC plan to revert to the 2019 guidance of the first Trump administration regarding a definition of a SIFI?
A SIFI.
Yes, we prefer an activities-based approach rather than an institutional-based approach.
Thank you. I want to pick up on the ranking member's comments about whether tariffs cause inflation. You know, economists can say when the price of something goes up by 20%, that isn't inflation. It's a one-time price increase. But out in my district, when the price of something goes up by 20%, we call that unaffordability. And to say it's not inflation is sophistry. I'll point out that every time Democrats had and regulations that increased a company's cost, people in this room said that's going to cause inflation. Well, tariffs clearly have to be paid by companies, and if environmental costs are passed through, you can be sure tariffs are passed through. The ranking member asked the question, why a tariff on coffee and bananas? I think the answer is obvious: to make our tax system more regressive. To pay for the big, bad, beautiful bills, cuts in taxes for billionaires, and to fund ICE.
I just can't catch this
I used to head the
trend.
largest sales tax agency in this country, and we knew the sales tax was regressive, but we knew it would be even more regressive if we imposed taxes, sales taxes on food. And that is what you do with a tariff.
We just
on
went from
bananas
230
and coffee.
to 150.
Mr.
back
Secretary,
up to 200,
we lived
all
through
within
the
3 minutes.
bailouts of 2008 when powerful men lose money. They now want a government bailout. Does the Treasury Department or the various components of the FMOC have the authority to bail out Bitcoin?
What kind of question is
Could you
bail
please elaborate?
out
What exactly
Bitcoin?
does bail out Bitcoin
Okay,
Yeah,
could
what the
you
fuck?
instruct the banks of this country to buy more Bitcoin, or change banking regulations so that they are encouraged to do so in terms of the
Bail
reserves
out
that they're otherwise
Bitcoin.
required to have?
Again, that within the context of asset diversification within banks, they could hold many assets.
They can, and there are different, but do you have the authority to order banks to buy Bitcoin or to invest U.S. tax dollars in Bitcoin or Trump coin?
I am Secretary
These questions
of the
are
Treasury.
some of the dumbest questions, and we've heard dumbass questions.
Chair of FSOC, I do not have that authority.
So we're not going to see our tax dollars invested in crypto assets?
Well, why would a private bank be your tax dollars, Congressman?
Excuse me, I'm now asking about the money of our taxpayers, which you manage as Secretary of the Treasury. Is it going to be deployed into crypto assets?
We are retaining seized Bitcoin.
That's not exactly taxpayer money. You collect a lot of taxes this month.
No, that is an asset of the U.S.
It's an asset of the U.S.
It was government.
Are you going to invest any?
And I will point out,
Mr. Secretary, reclaiming my time, are you going to invest?
The asset seizure, that $1 billion of Bitcoin was seized, $500 million was retained, and that $500 million has become over $15 billion.
Gentleman's time has expired. The gentleman from Oklahoma, the chair of our Monetary Policy Task Force, Mr. Lucas. You're recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Secretary, for being here today. You've said that the current deposit insurance framework is a vulnerability for the banking system, that there is a competitive imbalance that favors large banks, and that this increases the risk of bank runs and erodes depositor confidence. Can you talk more about a targeted expansion of deposit insurance for non-interest-bearing transaction accounts, and would that strengthen financial stability within the system?
Congressman, thank you for that very important question, because it is my belief, because there is the belief that big banks, the depositors, will not lose money. During a financial crisis, as we saw in 2023, assets leave small banks. And much of that is what is known as the payroll account. So I think it is very important for small banks to have one non-interest-bearing account that can have a much higher level of insurance so that they are able to retain deposits during a stress period. This is one of the reasons that we have seen assets leave small banks. It is one of the reasons that we have seen 50% of small banks disappear.
Continuing along this line of inquiry, Mr. Secretary, a robust banking system with healthy banks of all sizes reduces systematic risk across the entire system. Why is it important that Congress act now on targeted deposit insurance reform, not only for Main Street, but also our financial stability?
Well, again, deposit volatility, which is what you're referring to, is deposits moving during a stress time, does not benefit anyone in the long run.
And one more question on this perspective. Congress should look at giving FDIC authority to raise the coverage level for non-interest-bearing transaction accounts to an appropriate amount that is data-driven and put smaller institutions on a level playing field with larger banks. How would our banking system be safer with a narrow,
who knows what the fuck's happening
expansion,
here,
such as the one I've suggested?
It's slightly favoring the Bears, but I say that like very gingerly.
Banks to continue competing. It would get credit to our Main Street, and it would stem deposit.
I'm looking at 120.
During a period of stress, which is one of the most, or one of the biggest threats to financial stability.
Focusing on a slightly different subject. Sometimes something I've focused on as chairman of the task force on Treasury monetary resilience has been strengthening market stability and liquidity. We saw occasional bouts of Treasury market volatility last year. How would reforms to banking regulations like the liquidity coverage ratio,
lower highs, higher lows, still
market
technically
intermediation for banks
consolidation?
and improve
I would say
market
bearish
stability?
consolidation because
Again,
momentum is bearish,
Congressman,
bearish,
wonderful
bearish.
question,
Momentum
that
is
it
bearish,
brings
bearish, bearish.
more of our Treasury market onshore, and as
Literally,
you said,
as I say that, it
there
pops.
were periods of stress last year. The market successfully navigated those. At the end of January, we had the third highest volume in the Treasury market, and the bid-ask spreads, very important for the financial well-being of the American people who are invested in money market funds, in bond funds, in their retirement funds. They have stayed right in the center line, and we are at a 5-year low in bond market volatility.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. I yield back, Mr. Chairman. Thank
That
you.
guy was the most calm, for sure.
Gentleman yields back. Chair recognizes the gentleman from New York, the ranking member of our Foreign Affairs Committee.
SPX has not retested 6,900 yet. It got as low as 906.
Secretary Bassett, if I'm not mistaken, you were working in the financial service industry during the late 1980s, correct?
I was.
Thank you. And
what a
I'm
question.
wondering, do you recall or you're knowledgeable of the
knocked out for break even? Oh my God, dude.
Yes, sir. And I will point out that I was.
I don't want to.
No. I will point out that
limited time. I have limited time.
I identified.
The gentleman is from the Secretary. Is the gentleman from New York's time.
So I just want to make sure that everyone knows.
I'm trying to be safe and do these break evens because I'm getting stopped alive, and
involved
it's just
5 U.S. senators accused of
me.
pressuring the Federal Home Loan Bank Board to expedite and give more consideration to the case of Charles Keating Jr., who ran the California-based Lincoln Savings and Loans. It led to a 14-month investigation.
Knocked out at break even just to have to chase it by like 20 points.
Ended up
Dude,
with more
I'm
than
getting my ass
$1 million
handed
in
to me today.
contributions, 4 trips
Just,
to the Bahamas.
I'm getting whipped out. That was a break-even wick out, so I can't complain that much about
Following
it. The other ones were
scandal,
wicked out at
the
a
industry
loss.
saw sweeping regulatory changes that was launched by then-President George H.W.
But whatever,
Bush.
I guess.
Now, Mr. Secretary,
you got to be safe.
I'm sure you can agree conflicts of interest and improper influence by U.S. elected officials over bank regulators weaken supervisory independence and ultimately
keeps catching itself at 50. If it fails at 50, I'm looking at 120.
For consumers and taxpayers. I think that we can all agree upon that. And as we know, the basic lessons from the post-Keating reforms still applies today when the Office of the Comptroller of Currency, the OCC, is deciding to get a bank charter. I think we can stimulate that. Now, Mr. Bessent, as our nation's treasurer, I'm sure you also know that a foreign-linked investment firm tied to the United Arab Emirates government quietly bought about half of the Trump family's crypto company, World Liberty Financial. And at the very same time, the President of the United States was dealing with that country on foreign policy. Now, Eric Trump, the president's son and co-founder of World Liberty Financial, said, and I quote, "I'm not going to get into who the investors are, but I've got some pretty meaningful investors," end of quote. Lack of transparency. And it didn't end there. When Trump fans brought the tokens, they thought they were getting the deal of a century. But what they didn't know was that only Trump and his sons had the sole power
trying to push bullish
to decide
over here.
Who can sell the token and when. Today, the price of the token has fallen over 50%, and the Trump fans who bought the token are now begging to get out. Now, I'm not making this up. I'm not making this up. You can see it for yourself on the World Liberty Financial Discussion Forum. Yeah, yourself, Mr. Secretary. So there's no longer, this is no longer just about a shady crypto deal or a possible gift when a foreign-linked investor is putting hundreds of millions of dollars into a company controlled by the president's family, and at the same time, this president is conducting foreign policy with that country.
Order submitted.
You know what that creates? It creates a national security concern. So, I'm not going to ask much of you, Mr. Secretary. I just want to know whether you will commit today to pause and heighten the scrutiny of any bank charter or licensing application at the OCC connected to the World Liberty Financial until all of these conflicts of interest and foreign influence reviews are completed and shared with the United
watching this
States
120
Congress.
level on NQ.
All
That's what I care about.
Will you halt it and do a complete investigation and scrutiny of this licensing application? All you have to ask is yes or no.
No, Congressman.
All you have to ask
the
is yes or
OCC
no.
is an independent entity, and I would know, Congressman.
So I take that as a no.
You traveled to Venezuela to lobby
I take that as a no.
Chavez on behalf of
I
your
take
donor,
that as a
on
no.
behalf of your donor.
You do not want to answer that
I was
question.
sentenced to 110
I take
years
that
in
as a
jail
no.
For a $7 billion.
I'm asking you to do your responsibility as Secretary of the Treasury.
Into a Venezuelan
you do not.
Mr. Makes,
will you?
time has expired.
You cannot erase what you did in 2006.
He's the one that went past your time, Mr. Chairman.
No, and
he did not answer my question, and he wouldn't pass the
Mr.
time.
Makes, he had 6 seconds left to try to answer your question, and the
it was a yes or no. It was a yes or no answer. I asked him, will he? No, was that yes or no?
The OCC is an independent.
Stop
Mr.
covering
Bessent.
for the president. Stop being his flunky.
His what?
Gentlemen.
He's talking to me. I'm responding back to him.
2006 trip to Venezuela.
Stop covering for the president. Don't be a flunky. Work for the American people.
Mr. Meeks.
Trip to Venezuela.
Work for the American people. Don't be a cover-up for a mob.
Maybe you're going to
As
see your
long as
friend
he talks,
Nicholas
you talk.
Maduro
I will.
in
Gentleman
Brooklyn
is not
prison.
recognized. Mr. Bessent, please. I recognize the gentleman from Texas, Mr. Sessions. You're recognized for 5 minutes.
Mr. Chairman, thank you very much. Secretary, welcome to the Financial Services Committee. I'm delighted that you're here. Mr. Secretary,
Mag 7
we've
flow
talked with you
drifting
about a
off,
broad range of
S&P
things,
500
not
flat,
necessarily related
Mag
to
7
FSOC
did
and
just
your,
catch a pop,
chairmanship there,
but overall
I would
drifting
like
down.
to, if I can, talk with you something about the word public confidence. And the word public confidence does have a lot to do with the financial stability of the country. There are reports in social media that have shown, and I don't want to put you in a position where you cannot answer this because of anything that you've learned in Minnesota with the $9 billion worth of fraud. But there are social media accounts that show people who are at a Minneapolis airport with baggage full of up to $1 million cash attempting to exit the country. And I have engaged several people who have worked at Treasury to ask their opinion about that. Not the relationship between how they got the money, but just that it's going out of the country and following the law. Can you tell us or give this committee your viewpoints about people not using some other system, but taking cash up to $1 million through our airports to leave the country?
Yes, so that is a DHS TSA function. We, having learned of this, we are attempting to integrate our FinCEN better with those forms. What we are trying to do at Treasury via FinCEN is to keep money from being wired out of the country through what are called money service businesses. So we have issued a geographic targeting order.
We might be going for the intraday low here.
Reporting to $300
on the Qs.
And also asking on the form, if someone is wiring money out of the country, are you receiving public benefits?
These are all very important issues, and as you did talk about, Department of Homeland
intraday low
Security,
on the Nasdaq, at least the Nasdaq futures market, is 25,108.
Treasury probably has
the
a philosophy
swing low
about
past
the
that,
role of the
as you can see on the
American
4 hour
dollar
here,
in the
is 25,025.
stability that we have, the use of wanting to make sure that the dollar remains that dominant use. But I would tell you that I will be very interested if you have a working group on this of us making ourselves
All right.
aware. Because
we just made a
it is
new
an issue
intraday low.
to people who simply see social media.
We look forward to working with you on that, Congressman.
Thank you, Secretary. Mr. Secretary, as you have alluded
Finally,
to,
I might
as
have
the
caught a
discussion here has
fucking
been
trade,
about
dude.
Banks, community banks, the ability that they have. You recognize, because you spoke directly to it, about the stress that they are placed under as opposed
Moving
to
my
bigger
stops
banks.
to break even.
Could you
because
please talk to
that's
us
just
about
what you should do.
what you believe the role is of home ownership, which is increasingly a part of the political discussion and debate and discussions for members of Congress back home of solving our home ownership problem. And
SPY, watch the intraday low, 686.51.
And interest rates.
890. If that doesn't hold, there is the shot of the puke to yesterday's low
Thank
at
you.
62.
And I would note that I was also a banks and financial institutions
maybe a little
analyst for
stop at 75, but it's 68.60. This is the next key level if we keep going on. SPX 68.60, that's the next positive gamma area.
Which were the beneficiaries of the Keating Five that getting small banks lending again, we need to get them back into the mortgage market. No one knows their communities like small banks. And that having moved into the larger system, the strength and breadth of the U.S.
Trend line breakdown on SPY, trend line breakdown on
Qs. And we have lost the choice in the small banks. And I think
I'll set up a reversal alert
back into the housing lending business. And we are seeing, it's a tragedy that the average first-time home buyer is now 40 years old. 40 years old.
Wow, 40?
Well, I had a discussion last night with the realtors about their importance in this process too. So I'd like to once again make sure we see community banks and realtors and home builders all have an interest in this.
Gentleman's time is
I want to thank the gentleman.
I thank the gentleman from Texas. Before we
All
move
right,
on,
so the name of the game is the intraday low, somewhere between 885 and 890. From there, 75. From there, 62. Yesterday's low.
Having been a witness before,
I'll set an alert.
Before in my executive branch days, it is important to note that our members can spend their 5 minutes and never ask a question or not. It's their 5 minutes.
These are the key levels.
Let's try to be mutually respectful of each other. And I now recognize the gentleman from Massachusetts, the ranking member of our Digital Assets, Financial Technology, and Artificial Intelligence Subcommittee, Mr. Lynch, Massachusetts, 5 minutes.
Dude.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Secretary, based on early reports, and this is an analysis done by Public Citizen and subsequent news reports, when the Trump administration came into office, they immediately took steps to either halt, dismiss, or roll back over 100 enforcement actions and investigations against corporations in its first 2 months
Options are taking a hit.
in office, with a very heavy concentration on financial services, consumer protection, and cryptocurrency, totaling over $3.1 billion in potential penalties avoided. Now, as a member of the Financial Services Oversight Council, is that a concern that you have raised within the council, all these immediate dismissals of cases against financial services firms?
Well, I think the Biden administration had an extinction.
Sir, please be responsive to my question.
I am trying, sir, and this back and forth is just eating your time, that the Biden administration had an extinction policy for crypto
This
assets.
is when Trump came into office. I'm going to go to the next question because your answers on, Mr. Chairman, the answers have to be responsive if we're going to have a serious hearing here.
Well, the questions have to be serious.
Well, those are 100 dismissals of cases that the Trump administration came in and executed in their first weeks in office. Like that. All of a sudden, all these crypto cases went away. The SEC was dropping cases. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau dropping cases.
Ran right back up to IB and got
Look,
smacked.
you're on FSOC with all the heads of these agencies. This should be a serious question to you. Trust should be a serious question and a serious issue for the financial services industry, especially as the Secretary of the Treasury. Well, this is my time. I haven't asked you any more questions. I haven't asked you any more questions,
It's the gentleman from Massachusetts.
I'm trying to get to my next question.
Could you speak a little louder? I can't hear you.
Yeah, okay. I might.
Mr. Secretary, let Mr.
Dude,
Lynch
how
proceed with his
sassy
time.
is this guy?
Put 4 seconds back on the clock, please.
Oh, man.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Mr. Lynch.
I just want to do a comparison of the FSOC reports. Let's go back to 2024.
Dude,
and
this
then we'll
guy, he
talk
has
about
zingers.
The current report. In the previous report, the members of FSOC expressed serious concerns related to potential risk to financial stability regarding the lack of explainability and high complexity of AI and the approaches that have a potential to heighten financial instability.
I'm dumping some at 50 because I see these buyers at 50.
Discrimination in
Will
credit
it get there?
decisions.
I have no idea.
That was in
I'm
2024.
praying, as you can see
Your
from my
report
accounts, that
in
it
2025 focuses on removing regulatory impediments. So in 2024, we were concerned about consumer protections, and now
Come
your
on,
leadership,
dude. I just need a move here.
we're concerned with eliminating regulatory impediments. The dangers, and that was a report during a time where the chairman and I were co-chairs of an AI task force. Those dangers haven't gone away. In reality, those dangers are still as severe for the American consumer, but they are absent from FSOC's report. So it's obviously you've eliminated or dropped that priority as an issue for FSOC. So can you explain the change from protecting the consumer and now eliminating regulations?
We are charged with financial stability, and we are focused on leveraging AI strength in the financial system resilience, but with economic growth and a security
Come on,
lens.
just give me one of my fills.
On the issue of explainability, any concern about that in the use of AI in the financial services industry?
I'm sorry,
Just
what
give
was
me
the question?
one of these fills.
The
Let me
issue of
just lock in a
explainability,
little.
how when people
There
apply
we
for
go.
credit
Finally. Okay,
and are
we locked in
denied,
one of three. We're
we don't
almost
have
back
the
in the
ability
green.
for
What
AI
a
to
fucking
explain
battle
why
this
they
has
were
been,
denied.
dude.
Is that
It's not been
a
your
concern?
boy's
I mean, we
day.
are talking about the trust within the financial services industry.
It could be a concern, but we don't view it as a priority for financial stability.
That's the truth. That's the truth. Okay, Mr. Chairman, I yield back. Thank you.
Order
Gentleman from
submitted.
Massachusetts yields back. I recognize the gentlewoman from Missouri, Ms. Wagner, who chairs our Capital Markets Subcommittee. Recognized for
The
5
reason I'm putting it at 26
thank you, Mr. Chairman,
is because
and Secretary
a
Bessent.
recent
I
low
find your
is
answers
25.
to be quite clear, substantive, and as always, well informed. Thank you for being here. Early, sir, in your tenure as Treasury Secretary,
Bottom
you said,
tick
and
that
you touched
one
on
exit.
it here today, and I quote, "For the last 4 decades, Wall Street has grown wealthier than ever before, and it can continue to grow
Just trying to get back into
and
the
do
green.
well. But for the next 4 years, it's Main Street's turn. It's Main Street's turn to hire workers. It's Main Street's turn to drive
We're
investment.
right at this level, 90.
And it's Main Street's turn to restore the American
Watch for
dream.
SPX to push the
And as
intraday
chair
low.
of the Capital Markets Committee, I
86.
could not agree more, sir. For too long, outdated securities laws have limited everyday Americans' ability to invest in innovative startups. At the same time, the number of companies listed on public markets continues to shrink. And as a result, everyday Americans in Missouri's 2nd Congressional District that I have the honor to represent have fewer opportunities to invest toward major life goals, including owning a home, paying for their children's education, or securing a dignified retirement. Main Street businesses across the Midwest and other regions of our country are overlooked as venture funding and capital raising opportunities remain largely concentrated on the coast. That is why I have made it a priority to facilitate capital formation and empower entrepreneurs and small businesses across America. Just weeks ago, Mr. Secretary, December 11th to be exact, the House passed my Invest Act,
Gold
a
and silver are moving
bipartisan
in lockstep.
package of 22
Vols
bills focused
increasing.
on 3 goals: expanding access to capital for small businesses, increasing opportunities for everyday investors, and strengthening our public markets. Capital formation is the lifeblood of American economic growth and prosperity. Our capital markets are indeed the deepest and most liquid in the world, and the Invest Act will ensure that they remain
SPX
among
Delta
the greatest
popping.
strengths for decades to come. I look forward to continuing to work with you and the administration to advance these priorities and unleash the power of our capital markets. Secretary Bessent, in your view, what are the largest barriers to capital formation for a small business?
Congresswoman, I look forward to working with you. And I think I would bifurcate that. Most small businesses are individuals. And for many individuals, we have learned that most of them,
maybe it fails
of
at IB.
do
I don't
not
know.
own equities. So
we just
with
ripped back
the
through
Trump
IB.
accounts, which
It is
will
a
give
fresh
every
high.
child
I'm watching
$1,000
108.
seed finance. Every
Obviously, I might
American
stop at break even, so it's not going to cost me
will be
anything.
invested
I
in
am
a
praying
low-cost
that it
index
turns and
fund.
goes back south.
Every American will have a share of our great innovative economy. For small businesses, it is often, I would say, it is a duality of regulatory and access to finance. Americans are entrepreneurial.
There's sellers at 150.
We want to get out and form
hopefully that
businesses.
doesn't knock me out.
And I believe that with the competence of being able to do that.
I'm still in a hole, folks,
President
to clarify.
Trump's
Granted, my
agenda has
current
done,
trade, the stops at break
businesses now
even,
have
but
tax certainty with the
I'm
one
in a
big,
hole.
beautiful bill that 100% deductibility.
I had one good
of
exit.
equipment,
I scaled out one of
factories,
the
and of
three,
ag
but I
structures.
needed,
We have
I guess, to scale them
energy
all out.
certainty with
I actually
our energy
bottom ticked that
dominance,
exit.
and we have regulatory
Hopefully
certainty
this
as we are
keeps
pulling
going,
back the
though.
regulatory morass that was highly harmful to both small and large business.
Absolutely. And as global competition for capital intensifies, the United States risks falling behind if our public markets also, I must say, remain costly or inaccessible for growing companies. How important is
Spy
capital
pop there,
formation
but it's starting to
reform,
fade.
like the reforms included in the INVEST Act? Again, 22 bipartisan bills that we brought to the floor with the support of 87 Democrats. How important are these reforms to maintaining U.S. economic leadership and long-term growth? Quickly, sir.
Congresswoman, they're vital, and what we have seen, as you correctly outlined, is since the early 2000s,
Little trend line retest
the
there.
number of public companies available for Americans and indeed international investors to invest in has
My
greatly
alert
diminished,
system is apparently
and it has
broken.
developed
Trend line
into a
retest on
network
both the
of
SPY and the
private
Qs.
assets.
Thank you. My time has expired. I have others that I will put forward for the record, and I yield back.
Gentlewoman yields back. Chair recognizes the gentleman from Texas.
I
Mr.
can't
Green
get the
is
alert
ranking
system to
member of
work
our
here.
Oversight
It's working.
Investigation
Yeah.
Subcommittee. Mr. Green, you're
Alert
recognized for 5
saving
minutes.
failed. Please try
Thank you,
again.
Mr. Chairman.
We're getting weird problems.
Mr. Secretary, I
Yeah, it's
ask
just
that you
popping off at
recall
strange moments.
Liberation Day, the day that President Trump announced tariffs. I ask that you recall that when he made this announcement, there was a sharp decline in the stock market. In fact, when he made the announcement, the NASDAQ experienced a 6% decline. The S&P 500.
That's not the
decline
best
of
reasoning, though, because
11%.
we're now at a new all-time high.
I ask
as
that
of,
you
like,
also
last
remember
week.
that some days later, the president announced that he was going to pause those tariffs.
Battling it out
And
at
when he
IB.
indicated that he would pause the tariffs, the market then moved up. Do you recall these things, Mr. Secretary?
I recall them very well, Congressman.
Thank you. And I ask that you also recall, please, Mr. Secretary,
Little
that
IB retest right
hours
there.
before the president
Wicked it,
announced
popped.
the pause, he indicated by way of Truth Social, he has a more than 50% ownership in Truth Social. It's a great time to buy DJT. That was his announcement on Truth Social. And in so doing, Truth Social had a value that moved up. In fact, Truth Social, which the president has a majority ownership, went up by $415 million. Now, here's what's interesting in this scenario. When he made that announcement and said it's a great time to buy DJT, that happens to be the symbol for his stock, DJT.
What
I
an
ask you
interesting
kindly,
speaking cadence.
and as one professional to another, Mr. Treasury Secretary, do you think that this should be
Come on.
investigated? Message and
Technical
that stock
issues.
having gone up by some $415
SPY
million
starting to take a hit.
in a
Mag 7
single
going
day.
down.
In a single day. And this is a
We're
stock
right
that
at
was doing
the
very
spot
poorly,
game implied one day move
prior
low.
to that,
Remember,
and,
if this keeps
hadn't had a
going,
lot
your
of
next
success.
target is 6,860.
You
It's
think
the
that this should
gamma
be
level,
investigated?
and it's the low of yesterday. Watch
No, sir.
6,860 on SPX
Kindly
if we
explain
do
to
not
me
hold
why we
80.
would not investigate the president making such an announcement as it relates to his stock and then reaping some $415 million as a potential capital?
Well,
Order submitted.
all Americans benefited from the rebound in the markets that day, and in fact, the rebound in the market after that was the fastest in market history.
Yes, it was. But here's what's interesting about your statement. You did not note, Mr. Secretary, that DJT had probably the sharpest increase on that day.
That's not true.
415 million, and that the president said buy DJT, and that's what happened.
I'm unfamiliar with the exact text. Did he say buy DJT?
Yes, sir.
Did he said
Yes, sir. Exact text.
now is a good time to buy and have a salutation DJT?
Yes, sir. DJT immediately following, now is a good time to buy.
Well, those are his initials, as you said.
They are his initials. But it's also, do you agree that those are the symbol, that's the symbol for his stock?
I believe it is.
Okay. And do you believe that such a thing done openly and notoriously should not be investigated? Is that what you're telling the American people?
Sir, I believe that anything that is widely disseminated is widely disseminated and available to everyone.
Well, it was available to everyone, but what he said related to his stock could relate to something else, but to his stock. And here's the point, Secretary. Here's the point. I believe that any other president.
All right, fresh low on NQ. I'm targeting 26. 25 is the technical level.
It's almost
maybe I get lucky. Maybe I don't.
I don't want to say
know
that about the president. But making this kind of move would at least be investigated. If you're going to allow the president to do this openly and notoriously, $415 million, what you're doing is giving him a license to move markets at will, make announcements, and reap benefits. He is literally hustling the United States stock market. I yield back.
Gentleman's time's yield back. The gentleman from Kentucky, Mr. Barr, chairman of our Financial Institutions Subcommittee, you're recognized for 5 minutes.
Bounce off
Thank
of
you, Mr.
41.
Chairman. Mr. Secretary, you came here
kind of close to my
testify
target,
about
but not that
financial
close.
stability and threats.
But we're moving
to
30,
financial
50
stability.
points
I
like
think
it's
what we're
nothing.
learning
Like
from
this
hearing,
is not
Mr. Secretary,
an easy day.
is how much Trump derangement syndrome is a threat to emotional stability. There's been a lot of lectures directed at you today. Would you like to clarify anything or respond in any way to any of these lectures?
I would just like to say that financial stability analysis centered on identifying vulnerabilities in financial institutions or markets that might disrupt.
I am down on the day,
or
but my current
liquidity,
position is looking
disrupt
pretty
other sectors,
decent.
and
But
lead to
I am down to
significant
clarify.
losses
This is, if I were to
across
close out right now,
financial
I'd be down
stability.
1.5K.
This is what FSOC
And it's moving
is
quickly.
chartered to
So
do.
that could be green
Thank
soon,
you.
or it could be more
Secretary
red
Bessent,
soon.
I'd
Not
like
an
to
easy
applaud
trading
President
day.
Trump and the Treasury Department for announcing Trump accounts. I do believe this will kickstart the American dream for children born between 2025 and 2028 with a $1,000 investment from the U.S. Treasury. And I'm personally grateful because my daughter, Virginia, was born in October and will be a beneficiary of these Trump accounts. Not only will this ensure that American children born in this time frame will participate in the deepest, most liquid capital markets in the world, but it importantly will also teach this new generation about the power of compound interest and will help them develop financial literacy skills.
I had a
which will
really
make them
good
owners
exit
and
before.
investors,
That was a bottom tick.
and will improve their financial outcomes throughout their lives.
Now I'm trying
Can you
to
touch
see if the
on
next
the
wave down
impact
will
of
get
these
this
Trump
fill.
accounts and how it will help this new generation achieve financial independence? And as you talk about that, you know, we have a mayor of New York that espouses socialism, members of Congress who espouse socialism. How will these
SPX
Trump
did make an
accounts,
intraday low. If it doesn't
impact
hold right
this
here,
new
you're looking
generation
at
of Americans'
75,
view
then you're looking
of
at 60.
financial independence
75
versus
followed by
socialism?
60 on SPX.
Again,
on NQ, if we don't hold 50, you're looking for
Own a
25.
piece of the action,
If we
do
don't
not
hold
want to
50,
bring down the
you're looking
system
for
when you're part of
25,
the system.
which is where I'm
As
trying to get out
said,
of one of my
38%
two
of
shorts.
American
I had three,
households
got out of one,
do
trying to
not
scale out another.
participate in
The stops are
equity
already
market.
in the money. So
Many
they're going to
do,
make me money.
many
It's just a question of how
directly,
much.
many through 401ks. But over time, the goal here should be to have everyone own a piece of the American economic engine. We at Treasury, working with many people, are going to work on financial literacy. This will be one of the greatest real-time experiments in history. You are bringing Wall Street to Main Street, and Wall Street will work for Main Street instead of the other way around.
Well, on behalf of my 3-month-old daughter, Virginia, and millions of American children, thank you to you and President Trump for bringing financial independence to the American people. I agree with you that economic stagnation is itself a threat to financial stability. That's why we're pushing this Main Street access to capital bill, which will provide for more de novo charters of community banks, the TIER Act, the Community Bank Regulatory Tailoring Act, which would modernize these statutory thresholds to remove the static nature of the thresholds and allow for more diversity and growth in financial institutions. Can you discuss how indexing these static regulatory thresholds will allow banks of all sizes to grow, and how that will in turn help financial stability?
Yep. So, Congressman, I've said very often that
how do I want to do this? Do I want to leave one here
that emerged,
and go one to break even? Do I want to leave them both here? This is fucking painful today.
Small banks became too small to succeed, and I think we have to fix that and tailor it to the risk for people who know their communities, who are concentrated geographically. And if you were in Iowa, you are concentrated in farming. If you were in Florida, you are likely concentrated in real estate and tourism, and we need to make adjustments.
And that will promote diversity in the financial system, which in turn
will help
with financial stability. Final question, Secretary Besson. At the end of last year, President Trump signed into law the NDAA, which included my legislation, which will be overseen by the Treasury Department, the Comprehensive Outbound Investment National Security Act, also known as the Fight China Act. The COINS Act will ensure that Americans are not unknowingly funding the military-industrial complex of our adversaries by codifying and enhancing the Trump administration's existing outbound investment security program.
The alerts on trade stations, don't worry about them.
Can you discuss the Treasury Department's new obligations under this bill, and how do you intend to implement it to prevent capital flows into Chinese military-industrial
potential rejection
companies?
At the bottom of initial balance, people are reacting to it. But let's see if it holds, because it's also right at this level of 100, and SPX is also reacting to the intraday low.
With China on the economic front,
we're bouncing right back up to 6,900. Will it break or get rejected? Your guess is as good as mine, but it's just the level to watch.
I yield back.
Gentleman's time has expired, and I recognize the ranking member of our Housing and Insurance Subcommittee, Mr. Cleaver of Missouri. You're recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Unfortunately, this is an embarrassing kind of a...
Why does this guy sound like someone kicked his dog?
21 years, we've had all kinds of conflict. In fact, I was in here when the Federal Reserve Chair, along with the Treasury Secretary, and many others came in to tell us what was going to happen if the Asian markets...
Dude, this is going to wick me out just to probably get rejected. I just can't...
After the collapse of...
Can't capture this today. It's just all taken on a little bit more risk than I would personally prefer.
And I've learned that you can't make honey and sting at the same time. The question is whether we came here today to sting or whether we came here to talk about issues that are of importance to...
Obviously, I'm not going to move my stops into the red. At this point, it would be silly.
Little grandson, I hope...
Worst case situation is break even.
To have seen this so far.
I need a little bit of luck. I need this to get rejected right here, but if I'm basing it on luck today, I have not been lucky.
Is your opinion of the dual mandate?
Order canceled.
I removed that profit target because we are 100 points away from it. And I'm about to get clocked here. Son of a bitch, dude.
I would like to get your philosophy.
I need like a miraculous turn in price like right now.
Is that the creators of the Federal Reserve and then the mandate, was that a mistake?
The Federal Reserve Act of 1913, which created the Fed, and then we have morphed into the dual mandate, and the dual mandate is a very delicate balance between maximizing economic growth.
I have a shot if it comes back to IB and fails there, but I need it to turn now before it wicks me out.
So then you believe in, I'm assuming, the independence of the Federal Reserve?
I believe in the independence of the Federal Reserve, but I also believe in accountability.
I mean, can you explain how you
Can they just say something to drop this by 200 points for me?
I would welcome. We've seen these cost overruns at the Fed.
Watching
the
IB
Fed
right here.
The independence of the Fed is based on its trust
Potential
of the American
failure
people.
at 900, 6,900 on
The Federal Reserve
SPX.
lost the trust of American people when it allowed the greatest inflation of 49 years to ravage working people in this country.
Mr. Secretary, so the people in the country, there was a poll or something? I mean, you're speaking of the American people as if there's some human being that had an opinion. I mean, either the Fed
it came right back down to it and it bounced.
is independent or it's not. Isn't that right?
Come
Is the
on.
logic right?
If it gets below 97,
the Federal
I have a
Reserve
shot.
Should be independent for
Not
monetary
looking the best
policy,
right now,
and
but I
every
needed to take
other
out this
program
recent
it
swing low.
undertakes impinges on the monetary policy independence, whether it is cost overruns on a building, whether it is intruding
Buyers coming in on SPX.
climate, whether it is offering political opinions.
Mr.
Right
Secretary,
here, see, it's holding 6,900.
So being a member of the cabinet, you would advise the President of the United States to verbally and politically interfere with the decision-making of the Federal Reserve.
Well, it's his right, just as
I need it
Senator
back
Warren's
below 100.
right
I need
in
it rejected
September
like right
24 to
here,
say
but buyers
that
are coming
they
in on the S&P
shouldn't cut 50
500.
basis points, they should cut 75 basis
Right
points.
there,
It's the right of
SPX
everyone
popping.
in here.
Puts are
because,
getting
again,
sold.
There is no,
As in, puts are taking their profits.
No appropriation for the Fed. The Fed has magic money.
I don't
and
mind
prints
it.
all
I
its own
get
money.
it.
Yeah, I
It just
understand how the
sucks for
system's
me.
financed. The Federal
I need to
Reserve.
get lucky.
But Elizabeth Warren is not the President of the United States.
All right, we're
And I'm
turning a
sure-
little.
I mean,
We're back to the
her
initial
comment was in
balance.
Newspapers on the news. I'm asking about the arguably the
break
most
it.
influential human being on planet Earth.
Well, I will refer you to President Biden's last State of the Union, where he said, I believe the Fed is going to be cutting interest rates.
Come on.
Mr.
Take out
Secretary,
90, take out 80.
can you
If it stays
tell
below
me,
100,
please,
I have a
would you
fighting
advise
shot.
the President to force the independent Federal Reserve to cut interest rates?
Fired, and I invite the Secretary to respond to the gentleman's question in writing. Gentleman from Texas, Mr. Williams, you're recognized. Mr. Williams is Chair of the House Small Business Committee. You're recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Secretary. Thank you for being
So
here.
the 1 minute
I
ran
wanna
right up
discuss
to the
Main
50
Street Capital
MA,
Access
ran into
Act,
a
which
wall,
strengthens,
got hit.
Local bank formation allows community financial institutions
But it
to
could be a higher
refocus
low.
on
Let's
serving their
find out.
customers, supporting small businesses, and improving affordability for Americans.
It feels like if it cracks this low,
One-size-fits-all
85,
regulatory
I might be
requirements are
fine, and we
particularly
could get
harmful to
another
community
push down
banks,
to 50.
which often lack the large compliance staffs and resources needed to absorb broad mandates. So to preserve competition and avoid consolidation of the banking sector, regulatory requirements must be tailored to the size and risk profile of each institution. You've touched a little bit at today. So a question would be, can you speak to the importance of tailoring and right-sizing regulations for community banks and the communities they serve, and how does a one-size-fits-all regulatory approach undermine the community-based lending model?
Again, Congressman, as I said, a banker from my home state of South Carolina with about $200 million in assets, so it'd be a very small bank, was told by a regulator she should run her business like Bank America. She has 3 compliance officers.
So we did see profit taking on zero
She knows
DTE
everyone
puts,
in
but
her
it
small
seemingly has
community
gone
in
flat
South
now.
Carolina.
Let's,
So it is very
I guess, see what the
important
next
that we
trend is,
set
because
the
right here,
correct
the 1
standards
minute
for
on the
lending
S&P
risk
500,
and for the business success,
it bounced
because our
off
main
the
streets will
intraday
only
low, it
succeed
bounced off a
when
key
these
gamma
banks
level,
succeed.
the 1 minute
99%
tried to
of the
go
businesses are
green
small, they
again,
need
but
these banks.
it's just getting pinned right there,
Yes,
and it's
and
right
I-
at this key
and
level,
just to be
technical
clear, I've
level,
come under fire
psychological
from the
level,
Wall
gamma
Street
level.
Journal,
It
where
tried to
they
go,
called me a
but
populist
we just
because
don't
I
have a
said
decision.
that
So
it's Main
basically, either
Street's
look for a
turn.
fresh
And I
high
will
or
note
look for a
that
fresh
it's called
low.
the Wall Street Journal, not the Main Street Journal.
Thank you. 2 of my bills are included in our committee's Main Street Act. The first, the Merger Process Review Act, directs the Inspector General of the NCUA and federal banking agencies to examine the agencies merger review process to evaluate delay, reduction, efficiency, and transparency. The second, the Merchant Banking Modernization Act, would permit banks
also
to
from a
hold
technical
merchant banking
perspective, we
investments,
did bounce up to
for
these
to
trend
15
lines,
years, providing
running into a bit
regulatory
of an
certainty and
issue,
aligning
but
federal
who knows?
investment rules with
VIX
real-world
did take a
timelines
slight
of
hit.
small and
Who knows?
medium-sized business
After
projects that
popping,
often
obviously,
take more than a decade to
silver's
plan.
chilling out.
A question would be, Mr. Secretary, can you tell us what the benefits would be brought by greater clarity in merger review process?
All right, it is
And
below
next, how would
100. Sellers
allowing banks
just
to hold
stepped
merchant
in.
banking
Let's see what
investments
happens.
for longer periods contribute to growth for small and medium and businesses and the wider
Equal
economy?
highs, but let's see what the next
Again,
low
regulatory
is.
certainty
Two
for
equal
any
highs.
business,
Let's see if the next
as you
low
know,
rotates down back to 42.
An advocate for small business is important, and for small businesses who don't have legions of consultants, legions of lawyers, the regulatory certainty that is important, and the ability to grow through acquisition is also important. And we just want the regulators to put down the framework and stick to the framework, not to regulate through supervision.
Thank you for that answer. And finally, in the 2025
Order
FSOC
submitted.
I'm putting
annual
my
report,
order
you noted
back
that
at that
financial
swing low
stability
from
and
a couple
economic
days
growth
ago.
are
It's at
closely
25. I'm putting
You
my
also
order at
observed that many
26.
financial and regulatory supervisory policies fail to consider their cumulative impact on economic growth.
Just in case there's a
with,
technical bounce,
new,
but I don't
regulatory
see
costs
anyone there yet.
often evaluated in isolation. I hear this concern frequently from small businesses,
Up about
financial institutions in my
$880
district in
on my
Texas,
options play,
where
almost
layer after
$1,000.
layer of
This was
regulatory
put
burden
into the
required
Discord in real time.
administrations
Ask
millions of
anyone in the
dollars of
Discord. Zero DTE
hours
trade.
spent on compliance instead of serving customers and supporting their local communities, and they're hiring compliance officers before they hire loan officers. Again, it affects Main Street. So how do layers of regulations after small business growth with ultimately affect economic growth?
Come on, give me my fill. Let's puke.
For economic growth, and I believe that
Let's
if we were to go back,
puke it to
and
26.
look
Come on.
at what's happened, the Karen Pettigrew,
Come
a
on.
progressive,
After holding through all
believes
this,
that
100-point bounce. Come
regulation
on.
of small banks has been a real
Let's the
problem.
market gods
And
replay
she
this
calls the Fed
degeneracy.
the engine of inequality, and a lot of the regulation, the burdensome regulation, and has come out of the Federal Reserve, but also the FDIC and the OCC. And I think removing that can, again, get Main Street lending going again.
Thank you. I've got 34 seconds left. Would you like to have any of that?
I would like to add that under this administration, we are pushing for the financial system.
Looking for it to crack
regulated
56,
financial
looking
system
for it to
get
crack
back
40.
on an even, safe, sound, and smart level.
Mag 7's
through
options flow still drifting
deregulation,
down. S&P
but not
500.
deregulation
That
at
one
any
pop we
cost,
saw
but
was
deregulation that will help the
puts
American
locking in.
small business, the American consumer, and
We're
those who would
below
like to become
6,900.
Thank you for watching Main Street. I yield my time back.
Gentleman yields back.
If the
Chair
intraday low
recognizes
doesn't
the ranking
hold,
member
look
of our
for
Financial Institutions Subcommittee, Dr. Foster from
875.
Chicago. You're recognized 4 or 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and to our witness. I mentioned in my opening remarks our recent letter to
Come on,
FSOC,
crack this.
asking them to look seriously at the risks of the deflation of the AI.
I just needed to crack 42 and get me my fill at 26. 25 is a technical low from a couple days ago, which is why I'm trying to lock in there.
There was a letter
I'm front running it by a point, just in case we have some sneaky buyers. It appears that they're stepping in right now at 17, so I'm front running it by 10 points. There are people at the intraday low at 40.
So how many people do you have that are actually assigned to looking at the risk of this circular financing, these off-balance sheet entities, the securitization, all of the parade of terribles that wrecked our economy last time and are looking to threaten it again? So how many people are actually working on this? And when can we expect to hear from what they've concluded?
Again, we are constantly evaluating.
How many people? How many people? Could you answer my question? How many people are actually working on that problem?
That it is an all agencies. It is an all agencies.
So, no answer. Okay, I understand. They're not willing to give me a number on who's actually working on it.
Come on.
I could say 2,000, but that wouldn't be correct. Because some people may devote an hour a day. Some people may devote 80 hours a week.
All right. When can we hear something specific? When can we expect to hear something specific?
In the interest of getting back to you, and a change in tone, I am happy to send you a reply.
We're battling it out at 50.
I would appreciate something with a lot more
42 is the
detail than
intraday
something
low.
we got from the under assistant acting, whatever it was. All right. Also, well, last time we spoke, I asked you a simple question that I didn't get an answer to, which is, does this administration support a strong dollar policy or a weak dollar policy? And frankly, as far as I've been able to tell you, it's all over
we just
the
went from
map on this.
46
So what,
to 76,
could you answer the
30-point
question just
bounce
simply,
in
do
like
you support
seconds.
a strong dollar policy or weak dollar policy, and how would you, score your, whichever way you're trying to go, how are you doing?
We always support a
The
strong
low
dollar
I'm watching is the pre-market low from
That's
Wednesday,
interesting because,
January the
as,
21st.
Last time we spoke, I
Come on,
presented a
get me
couple
my
of
fill. I'm
graphs which
front-running it by
presented the
1
historic
point.
Interesting fact that every time
Front-running it by 1
Republican in
point.
charge of in the presidency, that two things have happened: that the dollar has gotten weaker, and that manufacturing employment has dropped. And this has happened.
We just made a new intraday low, but there was no flush below it. Unfortunate for me.
President, the
Come
dollar
on,
strength
come on,
actually
just give me my
achieved your
fill.
objective instead of just talking about it.
Fuck, dude.
And since the time of that, actually, I think this plot here was the
This
one
is
we
just
had then
toying
when
with
the
my
dollar was only
emotions.
8%. I think it's down about 10.5% now. So you're continuing down the traditional.
I'm sorry, which index are you using for the dollar?
I think it's DXY year on year.
Yeah,
and I think it's the last time I looked at it, it was roughly down 10.5%.
And you have the president on there, but under President Clinton, it would be.
I'm not talking
it would be my belief that it was Speaker Gingrich and what he.
Mag 7 still trending down. SPX and NDX are going sideways.
It's Dr. Foster's time.
Yeah. But you agree it is a historic fact that during those presidencies, manufacturing.
Just give him his fill. Thank you, Timmy.
The dollar got weaker during Republicans without exception.
Finally, someone's arguing for me.
I presented it to you on a graph. It's my understanding, actually, that later on that hearing, after I'd left to attend a different hearing, that you said some rather negative things about the data, and that as a finance
got as low as 32.
That you would have, I think, given it an F, was, I believe, your word. And so that, all right, so now I'm not a finance professor, I'm a manufacturer, okay? But I understand that the first rule
brother,
is you don't piss off your customers. Which seems to be something that your administration does revolutionary.
Oh, there he goes. There he goes again.
And so I think that it's easy for me to understand why manufacturing employment has continued to drop.
There he goes
ever
again.
Since Liberation Day, we have seen a continuous decline in manufacturing employment, which was one of your number one promises.
Congressman, as a manufacturer, you would know that I can't snap my fingers and create factories. So there is a building process that is well underway. I could send you the chart on the factory groundbreaking.
I understand, and the fact that we have
all
been
right, 25,000 flat coming up.
Is,
I'm looking for this reaction
for the really extraordinary economic growth over the last decade of the United States
pop
compared
off,
to say the EU, which was a high tariff regime, and now we are joining the EU.
I believe that we've exported
road.
jobs to China. So you were touching on a lot of CCP talking points.
I think as a manufacturer who's kept jobs in the Midwest, I think I have a little more credibility.
Gentleman's time has expired. Does the gentleman
We're at
want something inserted in the record?
Flat, new intraday low. I'm telling you, folks, if this doesn't hold, my next level is 75. If that doesn't hold, we're looking at 60, the low from yesterday. 75 by 60. That's it. Target one is 75.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good to see you again, Mr. Secretary. Thank you for being here. But before I get to my questions, I want to build on something that Mr. Lucas had talked about.
And then 60.
This committee held a hearing in November about deposit insurance,
and
we had an honest conversation about the need to maintain depositor confidence.
And now we're just at this key level of 25,000. SPX is breaking down.
And how we need
I do have a
data
runner. I'm short at 156, so I'm up about 3K on this one, but that only makes me barely green. So the important column is all the way to your right.
Questions here. Secretary Bessent, the Bank Secrecy Act, or BSA, reporting modernization is very long overdue and is required by the Anti-Money Laundering Act of 2020, otherwise known as AMLA. Increasing these outdated BSA reporting thresholds is, in my opinion, a critical component
so my
of this
break
modernization
even
effort.
is 25,040.
The currency transaction
my break
report
even on the
requires
accounts
banks
is
to report cash
25,040.
transactions that exceed $10,000 That threshold has remained the same since 1972.
Is it going to crack 25,000?
This low-value threshold has in recent years led financial institutions to file over 20 million reports on their customers annually. And as I brought up during our recent hearing, $10,000 in 1972 was enough to buy 2 brand-new Corvettes. Just to give an illustration of how inflation has affected.
All right, the next major
CTR
swing lows
the
are
vast
right
majority
here.
Of these reports are filed on law-abiding citizens conducting
24,982.
innocent
Then you're looking at
transactions. And I agree with something that you've stated, that
25,900,
banks need
and
to
then
be
just below.
focused
So just
on
above
their
900
BSA
and
reporting,
just below
or they need to
900,
focus their
24,000.
BSA programs on
Swing
real
lows
illicit
from
finance
mid-December.
risk. And
We
that
did
focus
crack that
on
low.
higher value activities would also better serve our law enforcement and national security objectives. A few weeks ago, we had a markup in this committee and passed my bill, the Financial Reporting Threshold Modernization Act, that would responsibly raise the CTR and SAR thresholds while ensuring these reports are still useful for law enforcement. As part of your community, or your
all right, if
commitment
you're in
to implement
NQ
AMLA,
and you need targets from a technical
will you
perspective,
use your authority to
here's what you're
modernize
looking
and
at:
streamline the outdated reporting
954,
rules and increase the
902.
thresholds?
889.
we are
That's
studying
what
this
you're
carefully.
looking
We
for.
look forward to
These are the
working with
3
you on
target
it.
levels
The other thing that
on
we are trying to
NQ
do
if
is
25,000
to
doesn't
use
hold.
common sense for
On
geographical
SPX, like I
targeting,
said,
that
75
we
is your
can
first
lower
target.
thresholds
Expect an
with a
initial bounce there. If that doesn't hold,
geographical
you're looking
targeting
at the low from yesterday.
or areas where we see disturbing trends like the southern border or
my options trade, ask anyone in Discord. This was posted in real time. I'm up about $1,400, and in fact, I'm about to take my profits on this. A zero DTE trade, a little day trade. If you took this trade, if you liked it, you could have been in the Goonie Discord for more than an entire year. That one trade would have paid for an entire year. And of course, if you want, you could go month to month. Right there, you're seeing it get a fill. Partial fill right there, so we're almost locking it in. There's a couple more left to go. We're almost halfway, but once again, this was all posted in real time. You saw all the futures real time. Everyone in the Discord got the options in real time. Check that out. Obviously, Apex, this is the final day on Apex. This is the final day on Apex. Right there, boom, 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 locked in. Here you go. Here's your proof. Orders filled. I got in at 10:36. I got out at 11:44. So it was an hour and 10 minutes to make 1.3K after fees. I see someone's being a little bit of a smart aleck saying I didn't post it. Well, while we're here, I might as well prove it to you. Thick trades right there, February 4th, 10:37. Right there, 10:37. I got into the trade at 10:36 and 40 seconds. And actually, let me just update the Discord here. Profits locked. Boom. So real-time entry, real-time exit. I was literally off by 20 seconds. Posted at 10:37. I got into the trade at 10:36 and 41 seconds. Sold at 90, bought back at 20. That's $70 per one. I had 20 of them. So it's $1,400 before fees, $1,312 after fees. So that's proof of the real-time stuff. If you want to take advantage of it, if you want to trade options and futures with like-minded people, that's what the Discord is for. And also, if you're trading futures, this is the final session. 90% off. Apex does not do a better deal than this. So if you want to load up on counts, this is the most cost-effective way to do it. 90% off with code Goonie, pinned to the top of chat in the description of the video. All right, I'm getting bored of those guys. This is breaking in my favor. VIX is rising. What did I say my break even was? It was like 40. Can I even reasonably do that at this point? My break even on my account to be green today is here. It's that line. It feels like I shouldn't go red after this point. Dude, I at one point I was down 7K per account. You can see I lost my evals, so I myself will be buying fresh Apex accounts today. I just lost the evals because I got whipped to like no fucking other. No other. So I'm going to protect myself. Like I said, wait, why is this not showing up as my break even? It should be computing it. How much am I down? Yeah, 300. So is it technically like 39? I don't know. That will roughly put me at break even. Some's above, some's below. So maybe I should do it at like 38. Yeah, that should. unless there's slippage or something. So worst case situation, your boys break even on the day. My stop is exactly where my accounts are break even. So it was a fucking struggle for me today as I was commenting on it. And instead of doing what I did last Friday, in all honesty, I don't know if I'm going to make money or not today, but the fact that my worst case scenario is now break even, I'm very, very proud of this because the exact same thing happened to me Friday. Just I couldn't identify the trend, or I thought I identified the trend, and it just like was not going well. And instead of staying calm, cool, collected, I ended up just spiraling. I got tilted. Many of you watched it on Friday. I did an update video on it, like yada, yada, yada. I'm actually really proud of this because instead of like getting angry and revenge trading and sizing up and just like all of a sudden not respecting my risk and like whatever, just like saying, hey, no, it's going to come in my favor. No, I got out, and I got out a lot, and it just whipped me out. And you guys saw it. At one point, these accounts were down like 7,000. And as I was kind of lamenting, it was just death. Wait, what are these levels that I need to pay attention to? First level is right here, 50, and then the overshoot target is somewhere between 902 and 887. These, let me make this big so you can see it. If we do not hold this target, my next targets are down here, but obviously I'm going to be watching 950. So I'm watching 950, and I'm more than happy to take it off at 900 maybe. What was that extreme? 887? I'll throw in an order. And 91. This is feeling right. I'm feeling right. It's feeling good. It's feeling right. This 91 fill. It wants me to do 91.25. I don't know why I can't make it specifically 91. There we go. 91. Anyway, sorry, just I needed to manage that position. So my stop is at break even on the account. My reach target is a 5.3K return. Which would put me up net maybe 3K on the day, something like that. Yeah, roughly, maybe a little less, like maybe 2.8 or something like that net on the day. So anyway, commenting on today and the craziness. Was today an easy trading day? The way I look at the market, the answer is a definitive no. Why is today, for me, not an easy trading day? Well, it's because we have too much whipsaw. We started off bullish. We push bearish. Like, don't just look at the price. You know what? Let me clean this up just so it makes a little bit more sense what I'm talking about. Just so there's less craziness on the screen. Okay. So look at the cloud. This is the exponential moving average. Obviously below it, it's red, it's bearish. Above it, it's bullish. So don't look at the candles. But we started off somewhat decently. We started off bullish. It got knocked, went bearish. Oh, we're having a bearish day. Wrong, reversionary bounce. Okay, we're going bullish. Wrong, we're going bearish. Wrong, we're going bullish. Oh, actually it is legitimately a bullish day. Oh, you took a bullish trade? Well, let's see how much risk you could take because we're going to actually fake you out on a bounce here to fuck you over anyway. So it was just very, very whippy. And like I like the smallest time frame I'm going to use is the 1 minute. So I was using this and I was short and I was like, oh man, it's going bullish. I got to get out. So I got wicked by that. So then I went bullish. Up, went back bullish. Got wicked out by that. Went bearish. Up, got wicked out by. I got wicked out multiple times in here. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Thought I caught one, break even. Okay, took another one, break even. Got wicked out 9. I got wicked out 9 separate times. I could double check this, but it's almost double digit where I just kept getting fucked. So a brutal day. Obviously, a very brutal day for me. And maybe you look at it differently. Maybe you weren't using the 1 minute. Maybe you're using the 5 minute and you're like, what are you talking about, Matt? This has stayed bearish the entire time. Maybe you use the 10 minute and you're like, dude, what are you smoking, Matt? This was the easiest thing ever. Obviously, trend is going to be different based on the time frame you're paying attention to. If you're using something as small as the 100 tick, you're going to see something very different than the half hour. If you were trading on the half hour today, you probably went short at the breakdown and you're like, dude, this was like the easiest day ever. So once again, trend and trend reversals are very, very specific to like the time frame you are looking at. So I was looking at the 5, the 10, and the 30, and I was like, okay, I should be biased to the bearish side. So I was trying to take some of those trades, and it just, I was getting wicked out. I mean, there's a very fair argument that I had The 2 times I got wicked out bullish, I probably shouldn't have taken a stab at it here at 1020, and I probably shouldn't have done it at 1040 just because they were counter to the larger trend. So but still, out of 9, I guess, stop outs, like I could have only stopped myself from 2 of them because the other 7 were literally to the bearish side, which was with trend. I just wasn't willing to give it that much risk. And in reality, if I just held my very, very first one from like 10:10 this morning, I would have been golden. Yeah, I would have had a lot of smoke at one point, and I'm happy I didn't hold through that because as much as I could show you this right here, no one definitively knows it's coming back down. If you're short in here and you see this breakout, this could easily just rip off your face. And I've been there before. It's done that. So yeah, in this particular situation, it did eventually come back down, but there's no way you would have known that. So you can't act like, oh, it's coming back in my favor. And what I did on Friday was when I saw things like this, I didn't get out. Now, once again, granted, in this case, it would have been fine, but it's still bad decision making. It's still poor risk management. It's still overall trading that if you keep trading like that, you're going to end up blowing out. So I'm happy that I cut it. And actually throughout this, because that was only the 3rd or 4th one, I had a struggle today. But what I'm happy about for me is, unlike Friday, I just didn't let it completely steamroll me. Like on Friday, I started to do all the things you shouldn't do. I fell into the giant pit hole that retail traders commonly fall into. I started sizing up. I started to refuse to admit when I was wrong. The trend was changing, and I just wouldn't acknowledge it. I wouldn't cut my losers, and I just kept doubling, tripling, quadrupling down, and it got really, really bad. And midday, I got myself out of the spiral and decided to do what exactly I should be doing. So I kept thinking about that today. As I was telling you guys, I was like, folks, like I'm only trading one contract. I'm taking on one contract of risk. When I threw on another contract, I'd move the stop to break even on the first one. So I was just no risk. And that involved a lot of knocks. But once again, when you do it with that style, even though because of the death by 1,000 paper cuts, I was getting hit. But once again, all of a sudden, when you catch one trend, that's exactly how you can get back to being green on the day. So I just kind of was sitting there, trusting in the process. And I guess what I'm just most like legitimately happy about is that I just didn't let it get me tilted. So right here, kept the cool, kept the train on the tracks. And yes, there is a chance that all of this work becomes nothing. If this pops another 30 points right now, I'm going to get stopped out for break even, and it's a break even day. But you know what? I'm much, much, much more happy to take a break even day than I was down 7. So, hey, I was down 7K per account. I have 15 accounts. So what's that? $105,000, I want to say. So pretty decent recovery. And yeah, this looks like it's coming back against me. I'm not surprised that there's some sort of reversion. If I had better entries, my stop would be way higher up and I wouldn't have to worry about that. But inherently, I have to put my stop here because I'm going to protect my accounts. Yes, I could be a little bit smarter and use like some of these technical highs, whether it's 80 or if I want to use IB, that would be safer. But if it ends up knocking it, then I'm red on the day. And I know that's somewhat of like what you shouldn't be doing. It's trading your P&L rather than trading the chart. If I were just trading the chart, yeah, your risk is actually the best risk point is probably up here 140. Give this room to dance around, and if it pukes again, you're still going to be in. But hey, I'm a little bit in the doghouse because I had poor entries and I was a little bit unlucky. And hey, maybe I'll get lucky here. If it gets smacked and it doesn't hold 500, I can move my risk down to 21 or some shit like that. But we're going to see. Obviously, my profit target is at that swing low from mid-December, I want to say. And if that gets a fill, that gets a fill. If obviously I would prefer that happens, and I'd prefer it happens quickly rather than me riding it all the way back up. But I'm not in control of that. At a certain point, you have to recognize what you're in control of. You're in control of your risk management. You're not in control, at least to the best of my knowledge, of making the market go up or down. So I guess if I wanted to, I could, we are seeing some dip buyers come in. I could cut it a little early, maybe guarantee myself a couple $100. But even that, I don't know. This is it. Like 38 is just a random ass level. It feels like it's coming for it right here. Let's look at Bookmap. There are some people at 30. There are some people at 35. 41 is the 1 minute 50 EMA on NQ, so that might be a target. It feels like it's coming for me because, once again, that stop has nothing to do with technicals. I'm not protected by anything. It's literally just a calculation off of my account of saying, hey, I just don't want to go red, which at this point, maybe it's not the best way to trade it, but from the standpoint of psychology, I'm just keeping my accounts green today. I just need to, every single day, I just tell myself, hey, just survive. Just as long as you could survive the trading day. Here we go. It's about to get knocked. I guess I could theoretically close it out right now and just definitely end here. Let me get rid of that so it's not messing it up. Let's see. Is it going to hit it? It's getting awfully close. Awfully close. As I've said a gazillion times, you know that there's nothing special about 38 besides the fact that I think it'll keep my account in the green. Maybe I get lucky. Maybe it just arbitrarily turns at 31. I find today especially that I'm by no means getting that lucky. But hey, maybe my unlucky streak will come to an end and this will be it. But I have a feeling that there's going to be one thing. You know what's going to probably happen is it's probably going to hit 40 or 39, and then that's going to be it. And it's going to puke again all the way down to that target of sub 900 where I would have been able to make it and whatever. You can't really trade like that because you don't know. Trend reversals happen. If you look at SPX, it got all the way down to 65, which was slightly above yesterday's low, but that was the zone I was calling out. Once again, on SPX, I'll show it to you in a second. I just don't want to pan away from this in case it knocks me out. Yep, there we goes. All right, so just to prove to you, break even on the day, just not my day. Shit happens. But getting myself out of a massive hole, I really thought the S&P 500 was going to be testing the low from yesterday, but as you can see here, it did bounce early. That's going to be the market hey, shit happens. Shit happens. So you can't complain too much. I mean, even the VIX is getting hit there. So yeah, as much as I can complain about variance going against me, well, then variance very much went in my favor, and I was able to get out for break even. Right here, S&P 500, there's a clear change of trend from 1151 till now. We're actually almost at the highest gamma reading of the day. And what is that? Yeah, just people are starting to buy 0 DTE calls off the low of the day, off of really yesterday's low. And all these puts, all that profit taking, look at all these puts are being sold. So yeah, maybe the trend changes, or maybe I get wicked out. Like I said, I was joking about 40. It got as high as 44. That sometimes that's just my luck, man. But I like I said, I can't complain too much because at one point I was down 7K. I lost my evals today, just to be transparent, but then I was able to save all the main accounts, which is obviously at this point what I deeply care about. So we're just seeing how it goes, but this is just protection. It's self-preservation. It's capital preservation. I gotta live to fight another day. And actually, for quite a while now, I'm actually kind of the most proud of this particular trading day, at least thus far. I know there's time left, but just to not spiral, I think that's the hardest thing for any trader, is just something happens, it knocks you, you spiral, and that's it gets fucking brutal. So I'm really happy with the fact that I was able to keep the train on the tracks today. Didn't even really come close to spiraling. Yes, I had a financial hit, but just by keeping calm, was able to looking good. So like I said, if you want to be a Goonie, pinned to the top of chat. Don't forget, today's the last day of Apex, that deal, that 90% off deal. We're going to be posting an update video later on today after the market closes. Google is going to be the big report, so please pay attention to that. It might become the world's most valuable company. And then other than that, it's kind of all I have for you. Pay attention to Google. ECB interest rate decision tomorrow. Update video coming out tonight. And actually on if you're on Rumble, it's just on the Rumble channel. If you're on YouTube, we're about to within by 12:30, a new video is dropping. So if you want to be the first one to see the January, I guess, account review, the highs, the lows, and just all of the details, that video is going to be coming out at 12:30 today. 12:30, so we have 28 minutes, and it is on the backup channel at Matt Kohrs. If you're on Rumble, it's on the normal channel. Anyway, that's what I have for you guys. I do appreciate all the good vibes. Whatever you decide to do, I do wish you the best of luck. I'll catch you guys in the Discord. I'll catch you guys in the update video, and I'll catch you guys again tomorrow. I hope you crush it. Peace.